man.
What's up, people? What's up? Shelfspace is back again. I have parked the spaceship and left the hazard lights on because I think I'm ordering me some Grubhub tonight from the Chinese place. So that's how we do it here. Almond Brown, your host. You know us. You getting to know us. Yeah, Almond Brown is here from Planet Almond, and I got my man, my co-host with me. I'll let him introduce himself.
Good evening, people. Once again, I want to thank you all for the time that you all are investing within us. Hope that we be able to bring something different, um, different conversation, different way of thinking, different aspects on life. I am one third. I am your host or co-host, Headache Stub Mitchell. One third of the most poppinest podcast on the face of this flipping earth, the Shelfspace podcast, and we welcome you all.
Welcome. Yes, welcome. And our third member, Mr. Wild Wild West. You know, he's been absent lately, but it's because of work. So he will be back to join us, and then hopefully tonight we will be able to have some of our guest hosts that you got to know last week join us. The conversation can be as exciting and as thought provoking as it was last week. That's what our hope is. So welcome. If you know us, we always really promote mental health awareness, self improvement, and just really taking care of yourself. We are not the professionals, but we do hope to encourage you to go out there and use your community resources to find help if you are struggling with any emotional issues. Physical health or your mental health, any of that. All of those things need to be in line and working well for you in order for us to be the best we can be. So that's really what we hope you get out of everything when we do the call. So when we do the podcast. So that's it. So to kick off the week, man, what you been watching? What can you catch us up with?
Been watching the back of my eyelids. Matter of fact, I stayed on my neck the whole entire Labor Day weekend. I did not get the smoker outside and get it cracking. Um, while I was awake, the few minutes that I was awake, my ever famous divorce court. I did my homework on your show, Married at First Sight as well too, and
Okay.
dug into that one. And I'm pleasantly surprised to find out that the show is not scripted, that they don't pay for everything, but they do kick
Yeah.
in and contribute, that it is a legal and binding marriage,
Yes.
that you cannot get it annulled. There's a lot of stuff that's going on with it
Right.
that I'm really excited about jumping into it.
You're excited about jumping into it.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
yes, it is a legal binding marriage. They do say that. They do get a little bit of they do get some money, to help them with moving into a place. But other than that, yeah, it's reality. So
But they were saying that
it's
they cover your wages from work. You
yeah,
get a per diem as well, but they don't cover everything.
right.
And no social media for the whole time that you're there,
Right.
none
It is a
whatsoever.
sacrifice. Yeah, they do
Yes,
sacrifice. I want to say what up to Mossberg, John Moss, man. Hope your health is good, my brother. Thanks for checking in. We also got Fran watching, Roy, the second half of Whitehead McFadden. Roy
up
tuning
out of
in.
here. Big fan on.
Big boy Roy, yes. And one of our regular watchers is back. Angie, thank you for joining in. How you doing? We missed you.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
thank you. So yeah, cool. Yeah, check out Married at First Sight. I'm glad you gonna did your little research on that. What I like about it though is a lot of the things we talk about. When we go into our mental health awareness segment, when we're talking about self improvement, and you put on your Toxic Avenger cape, There's a lot on Married at First Sight that is raw and real, and gives you a chance to see some different personalities come out, in that. So that's cool. That's cool. So all right, so that's it. You've been catching up on some sleep.
All of it, everything that I could get. They got me on 12-hour shifts now.
Okay.
Had a gentleman that departed our lovely facility. So myself and one of my other coworkers, we have to wind up picking up his shift. So he covers the front end of that gentleman's 4 hours, and then I cover the back end of his 4 hours, and then do my whole entire 8-hour shift. So um, we have that going on now. So that's cutting to my reading time severely.
Okay. All right. Well, for this week, man, we're gonna cover the what you talking segment or what you watching segment. But we also wanted to talk about things we've addressed on the show before. Well, no. Before we get to the part I know you geared up for, the things we've talked about on this show before is um, mass shootings, and just recently in the news we had that mass stabbing so in Canada, and I wanted to address that. But before we get to that, I'll say as far as me from what I'm watching, I'm just digging into that Game of Thrones sequel, that House of Dragons. It's starting to pick up. There's a lot of dialogue. There's a little, a lot of setup, a lot of character development at first. So it takes a little minute. I did go to the movies this past weekend. I still have not seen Nope, but my intention was to go to see Nope. They did what I think Regal did, like $3 movies on the weekend, and you couldn't get in that joint. I mean, it was crazy. Couldn't get in it. So anyway, we ended up going to the movies on another day, and I did check out Bullet Train, and I'm gonna give you guys my review on Bullet Train. Go see it. I'm gonna give it an 8 on the scale of 10. Probably could easily be a 9, but I want to leave room for just maybe a little thing, but a little remarks about it. But Bullet Train's really good. A lot of stars in it: Brad Pitt, Sandra Bullock. Um, Gosh, I should have had it pulled up, but a ton of stars in that, and lots of funny dialogue. Everything happens on the train, but what's real funny about it is Brad Pitt is kind of going through a self improvement type of phase in his life. So he uses some wording and phrases that we've talked about here on the show. He talked about being toxic and how he views his environment. So that just funny, real funny look at self improvement. So, um, anyways, we got that coming up, but wanted to just kind of touch real quick on the headlines. So we got oh cool. Ron gonna join us a little later. Awesome. So in the headlines this week, we had Lizzo and Aries going at it a little bit. And for those who don't know, yeah, I don't want to crack on Aries Spears. Aries Spears is a comedian. He's been around for a while, so it's not like he's not known. But the backlash he's gotten, they've kind of picked at him about not really being relevant right now, and him hating on Lizzo. If you missed the comment that he said, someone asked him, he was doing an interview, somebody asked him about Lizzo's music, and he made a comment about her looks, her body shape. Last week, we talked about women tearing women down, and remember that conversation we had, headache, and
Quite
so here
naturally.
was yeah, so here was an instance where, again, women measured by looks, not on their work, not on their talent, and he made a joke. I don't know. He tried to be funny, but he got a lot of heat on that from everybody, and so much so that he came out and tried to respond to it. But I just don't think it worked. So, did you catch that?
I caught all of that,
Okay.
and I caught his when Vlad asked him to did he mind repeating what he said, and he said that he wasn't. There was no need that everybody knew what he said. To me, it wasn't a joke; it was a statement.
Hmm.
This is where
You don't think it
I'm
was? You
getting.
don't think he was going for the laugh? You don't think he was
No,
trying to go for a laugh?
no,
Okay.
no, no. That's one of them. That's one of them one of them barbershop things where the camera isn't on, nobody's recording, and then you just actually sing. I don't want to say saying your truth, but I understand where he's coming from because my thing with Lizzo, it's not that she's a big girl, and it's gonna tie back into P Valley as well too. But Lizzo's a big girl that her bigness is in your face all the flipping time, even though she doesn't like it, but she's trying to force it down people's throats that she's a big girl. But then you crying on the internet though. You crying on Instagram about people fat shaming you. You don't feel good about yourself, but then you won't do nothing about it. That's a problem that I have. And the same thing with P Valley. The homosexuality, people know is there, but some of those things, as a photographer, as a person that does film, some scenes you have to put on the cutting room floor, and some scenes you have to ask when you're doing reading a script is asking, is this scene really necessary?
Right. Yeah.
And
Is it
Lizzo
adding to the
and
story? Right.
Big Lizzo's in your face, is that really necessary? And then it's gonna lead back to women with this size doesn't matter. When we know they don't believe that it's a one-sided deal because it's either the size of your wallet or the size of your penis. So we you can't have it your way and then not have it somebody else's way at the same time. That's the thing that gets me with this whole situation.
Yeah. First of all, I think Lizzo. Lizzo's. I think she's pretty actually. And I don't want to say like she can't be like Liz. Like she's really pretty. At least you know with her makeup on and everything. But it reminds me a lot of like the problem I had with Monique, the comedian Monique. Remember? Yeah, yeah. I see you nodding
Thank
your
you.
head. So
Thank you.
Monique built her comedy routines off of being a big girl.
Yes.
Fat, being fat, coming on stage, eating chicken, saying it's not a big deal. I like it. I want to embrace being fat. Okay, built her comedy routines off of that. Then all of a sudden, she gets this "I want to be healthy" kick, and then after telling everybody it's okay to be fat and love your curves and all that, which that's not a bad message. But where was the is it healthy thing? And so I think what Aries was trying to say, but he's a comedian, so it came out really, really ugly. What he the to make the he went the long way to get to a really good point, and that is, man, y'all should be really concerned about her being healthy, not making sure she gets the years that she should have out of her life, and not just say, oh, it's okay to be big and embrace it and all that. So who knows what's going on in her artist development meetings. Maybe the record company is telling her to be big, don't lose weight. I mean, who knows? But it ain't healthy. But for him to liken her, I don't even want to say what he said, but um,
Now, because that one, and I have a mouth on me.
yeah,
I wouldn't repeat that one. Matter of fact, I
right,
wouldn't have said it in the first place, even if it was in
right,
my mind, which it wouldn't have been. But I would have took a whole different route of you asking me about Lizzo. She's Lizzo. You
right.
know what comes with Lizzo, and that's how I would have gracefully backed out of the situation versus pressing it and using Lizzo as a platform about health, about diabetes. Patrice
Mhm.
O'Neill said the same thing as well too, um, about women that they will champion a big girl, but then when she gets sick and when she have to get her foot cut off because of diabetes and things like that, there's nobody there to push her around in a wheelchair or nobody there to handle her crutches. So you can't have it both ways. And I do understand that thing with the Africans that they like big women. And for me, if Africans like big women, like y'all get on, like you and Dawn get on me about that fish on your pond over there. Over there, you need to take you and your boat and your mate and going over there. And then instead of trying to force it on me. I mean, I'm not a fan of big women, but myself, if I'm not going to be a fan of big women, I cannot allow myself to turn into a big greasy and expect her to just love me in spite of. Even though I know women, they do love men in spite of. That is one of the best things about women, that women will love you in spite of small penis, no money, bad job, whatever. They will still love you in spite of.
Mm,
And then us, we love women because of.
mm.
Because a lot of women will stick around through and put up with a whole lot of stuff in spite of
Now,
when they see
now,
potential.
now, you tell me they gonna put up with small penis, no money, and he out of shape? Man.
I didn't say all of them. I said those are some of the catalysts. Now,
Uh,
I would never expect a woman to stick around for all of that because you're not giving her anything. You're not really giving her anything to love. You're really not giving her anything to respect. And that's the biggest thing that I have against men is we as men, we will give women, we will give them things, but we will never give them any. We don't focus on giving them something to respect.
no, wait. What do you mean by that? Oh, you lost me on that one. Give me that again. We won't give him anything to respect.
We barely do give because we spend more time buying things or
Oh,
giving
okay,
things
okay,
versus giving her something to respect and a reason to honestly be there. And this Dior bag or this Birkin bag or whatever the flavor of the money is that's on Instagram that you're running out here and you buying her things, but you can't really give her something to respect as a man.
right.
That's the problem that I have with dudes, and
Well,
that's the biggest thing that fuels my anger. It's not that I'm angry with women; I'm angry with men and how far we have fallen down the food chain.
I think there's some we're conditioned to to express love in a certain way. So you know, so you kind of spin that back to what Aries was talking about, like when he said his comment. If you listen closely, he actually was trying to make a good point, but because we a lot of times we only go surface level, we only going to take it how it comes across to us. We don't want to dig in a little deeper, ask any questions, or or listen before we let our emotions jack us up to say, oh, he talking about my girl, or he did so, whatever. You get that kind of response. We talk a lot about the books that we read, and then when I'm still working through Code of the Extraordinary Mind, and it kind of touches on what you had just mentioned, is that we get conditioned to respond, to love, to answer, to to even receive things in a certain way, and we can't. We once it's just too easy to do it that way rather than to try to look at it below the surface level and really formulate your own idea, um, or your own type of response to something. Really, when you probably could be growing by listening to somebody's comment like that.
Word,
Not
word,
defending it, but I'm just saying
not at all.
I think his comedian came out, but his in his heart. I can't judge his heart, but I think his intentions were good. But he just let his comedian come out, and just can't. That happens a lot.
The biggest thing with Ari Spears is Ari Spears tries to be funny versus just naturally being funny,
You
and
don't
that's
think
where a
he's
lot of
funny?
his Ari Spears he's all right.
He's had some funny moments though. He
He's all right.
has.
I mean, he's not on my Mount Rushmore,
Okay.
but I mean, he all right because I
Yeah.
mean, in spinning back out for the Lizzo situation with him and Tiffany Haddish, that situation,
Oh yes. Yeah.
that one, forget
Yeah.
forget forget the backlash that he's getting from that one.
Right.
I actually saw that one, and that joint, it just wasn't funny.
Yeah. That ain't. I don't. What would make you think there's humor in that? And again, I think maybe I don't know. We'll see when the details come out. Maybe he thought he was trying to bring more attention to it by being funny, but that just isn't. That just isn't funny.
But
Now
that's the
you in
way
a
that
lawsuit,
that's
you
the way that
know?
they pushed it as a PSA. But as I stated, it just wasn't funny.
Right.
He wasn't funny in it. She wasn't funny in it. The situation could have been made funny and been informative at the same time, but just at the onslaught of it, you just lost me straight out the gate. With there was no humor in there whatsoever.
With that subject. Right. Right. Yeah. So that, I just don't see anything funny in that subject matter. Like I had a problem with Dave Chappelle's last stand up thing because he had a bit in there where he's talking about, you know, child sex offenders and trying to, dealing with the Catholic Church, I think it was, and it just wasn't funny. And he tried to nail a punchline on it, and I was just like, man, I had a problem with that. It wasn't funny, it just wasn't. And so I think with Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish, I have no idea why she followed him, down that road. But as some details come out, Aries, the Lizzo comment may be the least of his problems, really.
Basically, and at the bottom of that hole that Tiffany Haddish and he fell into was a check. But the problem with picking up that check, you're gonna have to turn around and cut one.
Did you see? And I know you saw Don's comment there about.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
But I mean, he was rude. It was
it was.
it
Yeah,
was done in bad taste. You decided to take a shot at this woman. To me, taking a shot at Lizzo, that's like dunking on your sister, on your little sister, and actually expecting somebody to pat you on the back like you really
right.
did something. You took a cheap shot at somebody that for nothing.
You're right. It was a cheap shot because he was asked about her music, and he couldn't even comment on that. Now, and he, to be honest, man, he should have been. Probably, doesn't want to admit he's a little ashamed of what he did. But her music is, I mean, I'm not a fan of her, but her music is decent. I've listened to her music. I don't have a problem with Lizzo's music, Um, her music's decent. And he really could have given her some props on just what she's been able to do. She's got a great voice, um, got some good production going on and some, just some real hip music. So it's a shame. Yeah.
Lizzo's music to me is like how I feel about Kanye and how I feel about Jay. I can't I can't really get into your music if all I can see is you. And listening to her, I
Oh,
know that I would
what?
see the
Sound like
twerking,
Aries, man.
I would see the twerking, the antics, the sheer outfit that you got and with your breasts exposed. I'm gonna see more of that than I'm actually gonna hear you. The same thing with Kanye. I hear all of the antics and all the rest of that stuff that goes on with him, and it outshines his music. And the same thing with Lizzo for me. So I'm
Okay,
not a
right.
fan of her, not because of she's a bad musician. I can't comment on if she's good or if she's bad. It's just Lizzo
Because
is
she be busting out everything on the stage.
Li-
Is that what you're saying? We
Lizzo.
call that we call that, me and Hannibal Lecter call that roaming in the hips. She just got a lot in there. Okay.
I'm
But
bad, but Lizzo's is she got me. And when you got me, the only thing I could do is just give it to you and let you have it. That's yours. You got to be.
look, I mean, we've been to the beach, you know, and there's no
You gonna
there's,
do this. You gonna
I'm
do
just
this.
saying.
You
Look,
gonna do
listen.
this.
It's
You
not
gonna do
like it's
this
not like
now.
we haven't it's not like we haven't seen Lizzo before. You've been to the beach. You get it all at the beach. You get it all. And I think, by now we probably should just be less shocked and just be okay with it. You know, you get it all at the beach.
Okay, so getting it at the beach, that is the setting for it. You with your breasts and your rump exposed at a Lakers game? Really? That's what we doing?
Mm.
That's what no, that's not what we doing. That's what you doing? You want to compare that to the beach? Or when you twerking and all of that stuff is whoa, whoa, doing all of that?
Mm.
There are dudes that like looking at that. Give to them. Don't force it on. Don't force it on my kids. Because
Yeah.
if little head see that and then he develops a trauma for when he's older, how am I gonna coach him through that when his pops don't do that?
But look, yeah, I mean, we always mask names to protect the innocent and the guilty. Okay, it's not like you haven't been on a date with a Lizzo before.
Who?
Okay,
Who?
you,
Who?
you, you.
Who? Okay, I'm gonna tell you about that one. And I'm gonna enjoy telling you about this one.
Okay,
Met a young lady online. We talking, we
God,
vibing.
no, you met her online.
Met her online,
God,
we vibing, we talking. Conversation going decent. Go to pick her up. Don't know what she look like. I pull up. She's a little larger than normal. I'm already there. Let's go ahead and go through
mm,
the date. Let's have a good time.
mm.
We go to the
Wait.
movies.
Now you say a little larger than normal. That's
A
what you
little.
say.
She, I'm being polite, sir.
I get it. I'm
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 being
just trying to follow
polite.
your story.
I
I'm just
don't
trying
want
to
to
follow
call
your
her Big
story.
Greasy because if I call her Big Greasy, they're gonna come for me, and I don't
I'm a
want to do that.
I'm gonna stamp you with the Aries spears. Yeah, don't do
That's
that. Don't call it Big
exactly.
Greasy.
So I don't want to do that. So I'm
Okay.
being polite by saying she was a little larger than normal.
Okay.
We're sitting in the movies. Bad for a first date, anyway. Very bad for a first date. We're watching a movie. Next thing you know, I hear.
Oh, she went to sleep.
And she's rattling my teeth.
She went to
She turns
sleep.
into a grizzly bear. All of that while we in the movie theater. Had she not been a little larger than I normally date, I wouldn't have dated her anyway because of the noises that were coming out of her mouth.
Mm.
That is too much. Cause me, I will put my foot in your back and I will push you out the bed. Go take that down the hall. Cause I'm
Now,
not getting out the
now,
bed.
in her defense, I have fallen asleep in movies myself too.
Watch
That's when
this.
let
Watch
me
what
tell
he
you
do now.
something.
Watch what he
This
do.
is this is when you got to work as a team. Literally, me and Shimmy were at the movies watching Bullet Train. I told you we went to go see Bullet Train. It's kind of surprising where I took it. I was a little sleepy, but I wanted to see the movie. Okay, but I could feel it coming. It's dark, you know. It's in the evening. I could feel it coming. But that's when you work as a team. I told her, don't let me snore in here. Don't let nothing happen. I said, hit me in the middle of the first. If you hear me drag, the first drag you hear, bam, elbow me hard. Teammate came through for me. It only happened once. I had to get a quick nap, and I get a quick power nap. And then I was able to watch the rest of the movie. She filled me in on what I missed.
No,
But y'all should have worked as a team like that.
no,
You can't you
no.
can't blame Big Greasy for when it gets dark.
Don't do that.
And
Don't do
and
that. Don't do that.
you
Don't
you
do
see
that.
what I'm saying you extra out because it got dark. Probably had some Luther Vandross playing in the soundtrack. Might have probably was like, would you go see Love and Hip Hop, something like that? Probably was a love
I
movie,
can't.
and it get a little
I can't.
slow. It got a little slow,
No.
and Big Greasy caught some wind.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just trying to help her out, man. I'm saying.
But no, we no. So when I got her back to the house, she got out the car, and normally I am the gentleman. I will walk you to the door. Pew, speed on. Hope you don't get peed on. I went on here and I got it cracking.
And that was it for her?
Yes, but no, I don't. I am not a fan of large women, and the reason, and I will
All
go
right,
on record and say
yeah,
I
all right.
have early childhood trauma
Mm,
about it. My mom's was not a big woman, but my mom's was always on her weight. She was meticulous about her image.
mm.
even to the
As
point
most
of
women are, right? Right.
she would not buy bigger clothes. She refused to buy bigger clothes. So, a favorite pair of jeans, she couldn't get on them. She hung them up on the door. That was motivation. But I've seen some of her dieting and her killing herself to maintain her weight, and I'm not a fan of that one. So I've always been into, and as they say, the only thing that like a bone is a dog, bow flipping
Mhm.
wow. But I would rather date a woman that is smaller and then you grow into your body over time versus you having this big gigantic wagon. And me, Mr. Gravity, he plays evil tricks with women's bodies. So I'm not even a fan of big booties. I no, no. I do not like big booties at all. At
Mm,
all. At all. No.
mm.
No.
So you're not Sir Mix-a-Lot.
You got it, buddy. Now I was looking at Angela with them skid marks.
So when you dropped her off, did you leave skid mark?
Exactly.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
Speed
did.
on. Speed
Yes, you
on.
did. That's a shame, man. That's a shame. She might have been a beautiful person on the inside,
Could
and
have
you missed
possibly
out on
been,
that.
but I knew that I would not have been able to give her exactly what it was that she needed. I couldn't have because there
You
was no
missed out
attraction
on
there.
that.
There was no
Yeah.
attraction there. Conversation skills really weren't that strong. Um, Once again, she was all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
I know I'm not looking for no Beyonce because I do understand that being a girl, you're supposed to be pretty, and where you lack, either you go to a beautician or you go to a magician, and they make things better. So it's not from a physical standpoint, but from a health wise thing as well too. If I'm gonna be active, I don't want to hear no you live in me. Well,
Mm,
I can't keep up. Do
mm.
these jeans, and I don't want to do that because I'm quite sure you all know how my mouth pretty much works. And if I get asked, "Am I getting fat?"
Ooh.
There comes that disclaimer of lie the truth.
Well, of course you're gonna lie.
Of
You
course,
better. Yeah.
but that's
What?
what gets put up front.
What I'm confused about is why is she talking like she's on The Color Purple? Why you had to give her the Color Purple
Because
voice?
that's what I got, literally. So that's why I was saying the conversation skills were not that strong.
Well,
So it wasn't just the weight or just the body image that was not working in her favor. And let's be honest.
yeah.
I am not the most beautifulest man on the face of this earth. I could be considered ruggedly handsome. I'm not pretty. I'm not I'm not one of you pretty light skinned dudes from back in the 80s. That the only thing
Whoa,
y'all had to do was just show up and things of that nature.
whoa.
So I understand it. I am not a lot of women's cup of tea. Why you got that cup in your hand?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Speaking of cups of tea,
Man. Well, look, man. I'm gonna just say, you might have missed out on a really good.
the mother of my
You know,
children,
I
I
mean,
could be
you
having
might have
kids.
missed out on a really good person. Looks are fleeting. Looks are fleeting. So even if she looks great right now, what I'm saying, as time goes, look, so you do at least have to get to know the person. I've been out with some Lizzos before. Yeah, and look, I'm
Where
more
now?
of that.
Where
I'm
where are
just
they now?
more of,
Where are they now?
well,
Where are they now?
look,
And
I
Shimmy
did, this is what I'll say.
is far from Lizzo.
Okay, right.
For
But but
way
but
far from Lizzo.
but
And
let
I
me
don't
just
think that
say,
she's even planning on being a Lizzo
no,
anytime soon. Even after she dies, she still
no.
would consent to being a Lizzo.
But I'm saying I've been out with some Lizzos before, some really good-hearted women, and you learn things from them. You grow from a relationship, and you move on. Okay, that's all I'm saying. You just can't base it all on looks,
Watch this
and
one. Watch this one,
rolling
Harold.
back, rolling
Watch
back to
this one.
Ari's, rolling back to Ari Spears' comment. he could not see past her looks to even compliment or say something good about her talent. And I think men, because we're so visual, we have that deficiency. I'm not saying looks aren't important, they are, but I think you could also spend a little time getting to know somebody on the other side of their looks, beyond their looks. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
So when you caught Shimmy in Walmart, the first thing you
No, 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 no,
you
no.
you saw Shimmy when we were in school
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
and shit out of your league, but nothing was
Yeah. I
really
mean,
there. But when you saw
right.
Shimmy, when you caught Shimmy, when Shimmy turned into Shimmy, thank you. Let her have been a big Lizzo. It wouldn't have been an option. She wouldn't have
Man,
made
I
the
don't
cut.
know. I don't know. I don't
You'd have
know.
walked up with that. How you doing, Shimmy? It's
I
so
mean, I
nice
don't
to see you.
know.
It's so nice to see you. You know, I haven't seen you in so long since we were in school.
I'm listen.
How have
Listen.
you
I don't know.
been? How's life? And then all of those things that led into the icon known as Shimmy Shimmy Y'all.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true, man. I mean, I've had, in my eyes, I've had the best top of the mountain. I've gone with some great looking, attractive women, and then I've gone out with some average looking women. And I think I've learned and gained from any extended relate. I'm not talking just like one date or anything like that. I'm talking about anytime I was able, just be in an extended relationship with somebody. You learn things from them and
Of
make you a
course.
better person. And all of them weren't, they all weren't Janet Jacksons. You know what I'm saying?
That's what Lizzo is. I mean, that's not what Lizzo is. That's what Shimmy is. If I
Uh,
would have to say that
yeah, yeah,
there was any competition on the face of this earth, it would be Janet Jackson. So if if Shimmy is on Janet Jackson's level,
yeah.
how else could anybody else compete?
Well,
That would, and
yeah.
if she had been Lizzo, she would not be on Janet Jackson level, even when Janet picked up the weight.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, Janet was sort of my, my standard. You know, yeah,
Damn, damn.
but I'm just saying, in between, you learn things from other people. That's all I'm.
Of
That's all I'm
course.
saying is,
And they
it's
prep
not
you.
that.
They prep you when you run into
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Shimmy, to
exactly.
where they turn you over to Shimmy,
Right,
and they turn you over into good standards, with good
right.
standards. So
I
I
think
get
there's
all of that.
there's I think there's beautiful people, beautiful women all over the earth, and there's a lot to
There are,
learn from them. A lot to learn
there
from
are,
them. And
there
you
are.
can't just X them out just because she snored in the movie theater. You
Who?
know, that's all
It's
I'm
either that
saying.
or you catch the foot in your back. Cause the
Okay.
old lady, she does that snoring. Matter of fact, we on the phone the other night and
Mm,
I just let it go. Just let it go. I didn't hang the phone up. I just
right.
stayed there while she was doing her thing. But when we are together and she does that mess there, hey, you know my world famous statement. Say, look here, bro. And it's, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. And I get all of that. But this one here, Big Grizzly, no. Straight out the
Okay.
gate, no.
Well, well, we're gonna bring in one of our favorite guests right now. Constance has joined us, and I know you're ready. Let's bring
I'm
her
about to
on
get
up.
I'm about to get torn out of the frame.
What's happening, my friend?
Hey, let's check the sound. Can you
Sounding
hear
good. Sounding
me?
good. Yes. Yep. Sounding
All
good.
right, good.
Is this the
The
illest
kids,
chick in Nebraska?
Nebraska. Nah, I got you all day, every day. Today's doing pretty good.
Cool. Cool. So, hey, real quick, and we'll pull you into the subject, but real quick, what you've been up to this week? You like to share with folks what you've been watching, what you've been reading, what's your week's been like. So give us a little insight on that.
I had football tournaments for Payson, so went camping. So trip was already planned before it was on the schedule. So I'm pretty sure you guys Friday we go up camp. Saturday morning we drive back down at like 12. Get dirty. Went home. Took the medicine. Went to sleep. Had to wake them up again. Woke up the next morning. Next football.
Wow.
And then after, uh, sorry, she said, okay. Um, sorry, I'm reading the comments too.
Oh
So,
yeah.
That's why I'm laughing. Cause Dawn caught her with her mouth open.
Yes, it's a little bit of like in and out on your mic. It's better than last week, but a little bit
Way to
in and
go,
out on your
Dawn.
mic.
Way to
That's
go, Dawn. Way to keep them honest.
it's all right.
Yes. So that was pretty so that was pretty hectic for you there to drive up, drive back, to get him on the field. I
Yeah.
saw the live videos of him being on the field. So yeah, so cool. Did you now so you did you do camping all weekend?
Well, Derek was camping from Friday to Saturday.
Okay.
Right? And Luca, and they left by the time me and Pace, and then and me and him stayed, and Payson stayed one more day. We came back on that Monday, and then I did my hair, and then we was again.
Okay, cool. Well, we've been talking about Lizzo and Ari Spears. I don't know if you saw that news article we shared in the group, but he made a comment about her. He was asked about her music, and his only reply was how she looked. And if you remember last week, we were talking about how women tear each other down, and the comment in that discussion was, well, men really caused that. You know, we're sort of the reason for why women compete like that. And there was a really good example of how Aries let his toxicity, you know, come to the surface when he couldn't even really say anything good about her music, just went straight to how she looked. So wanted to get a female thoughts on that particular story in the news. Go ahead.
If I was on the other side, I ask him, hey, but what about her music point? But that's me. I want my answer for your other commentary. Stay focused. That's me. Uh, People superficial kind of things and stuff like
Right.
that instead of that's in all of life and what we all do. And I'm just we gotta realign.
Good point. Dawn says me and Headache need to take a step back and comment you on your hair because it's beautiful. So, as we're talking about, us being more positive and definitely, not attacking women and tearing women down. Let's build them up.
Right.
So your hair looks awesome. Very, we like that. We like that style. That's a look you've had before, but I think
No,
you've
I've
gone back to that. You haven't?
gone red. This was my first time red.
That's right. Right.
Pace, and he was like, no, mama, you can't go red. Red hair are crazy. Mine, yeah.
But you are, aren't you?
Hey, one that
Derek?
asked me to be
Derek?
team mom. They straight asked me
Derek?
to be team mom.
because they know you gonna whip everybody into place, get it and get stuff organized. That's why. So okay, well, cool.
But I
Well,
was gonna
cool.
comment on the studious look as well too. You have the whole thing going on all at the same time. The studious looks with the locks and the whole nine. You're actually working it very well.
All right. Oh man. Well, anyways, so yeah, so that was the thing with Vlad, and Don made a comment about Vlad. We kind of know his reputation there. he
Yeah.
gets things started, and it really backfired on Aries. So before we uh, one of the things we were going to talk about was a subject that you brought up last week. You want to talk about, you know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
what to talk about
yeah,
on first dates. But before we
yeah.
get to that, I want to just really quickly turn it over to Headache because he is our gun rights expert. And he's done a lot of reading, like on Malcolm Gladwell, mass shootings and things like that. Well, there was a mass stabbing in Canada over the weekend, which was really odd, just something you never really see. Wasn't really big in the news, I would say, not like as if it was a mass shooting. But as the details have come out, two people were involved. Um, I believe it was 13 people were 10. I'm sorry, 10 people dead. But I'm gonna let Headache go into that a little more. But it was a mass stabbing, and so we've had this discussion about guns, knives, weapons are weapons. It's not the weapon, it's the people. That debate, that argument. But Headache can give us some details about what mass stabbings, mass shootings, what you've read about with Malcolm Gladwell, and let's talk about that a little bit.
This is the thing that UG and I were going back and forth over. But over the weekend in Saskatchewan, Canada, were two gentlemen that went on
Right.
a stabbing spree.
Yeah.
10 people were killed. May Allah's peace and blessing be upon them. And then there were an additional 15 people that were injured as well.
Right.
The way we came about the story is that one of these gentlemen is a battle rapper from Canada named Pat Stay. May Allah's peace and blessing be upon him. I've read into him before, but he was one of the people that were killed. Um, but then again, it's going to get back to this thing with Canada, and Mark Trudeau has not really done anything or said anything, but he was very vocal about disarming the citizens, that will curb the violence. But as UJ and I were going back and forth with this, and I told him, I won't say that I told him, I mentioned to him that the way that we have these protests about guns being on the streets over in the UK, over in Ireland, over in Canada, they're having the same stance with knife violence.
Mm.
The difference between a knife violence and gun violence, the knife makes no, it doesn't make any noise at all. So the damage that you're gonna do, you could just do it, toss the knife, and then blend right into the crowd. Stick your hands in your pockets and move on with the crowd. That's the worst thing about knife violence. But we never look at it that way. Is that it's just that the guns, once you get the guns off the streets. But then again, as I keep asking people, how do you put Pandora back in the box?
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have to be okay with living with some level of violence. It's just not going. That's not gonna go away. I'm gonna always argue. You can do more damage with a gun than with a knife, and I understand your point. Where we talked about it. You can hurt a lot of people with a knife, and before anybody realizes what's going on, you've already inflicted wounds, damage to people. But the ability to be able to disarm somebody with a knife or get away from someone with a knife is much easier than if it was with a gun, because you've got to only way you're going to hurt them is if you're in close quarters to them. So what was odd about this one is that it did happen in Canada, but it happened on indigenous land, so Indian nation land, the Cree Nation. It happened on their line, so it was really odd. There's not a lot of details from it. One of the killers is dead. I think he said he killed himself, and they took the other one into custody. So there's still some more details to come out on this. I don't think this is. I think what you were saying is what this is going to open the door to more mass stabbings. I don't think that's going to happen. I just
Why
still
not?
think it's. I just
Because if we
think
go, because if we're going to bring up Malcolm Gladwell,
mhm,
that my forever talking point is the number. That the
right,
first
yep,
person that does this, they do it because they want to do it. The second person does it because of the first one. The third one does it because if people really want to inflict this kind of damage on people, these people, they have a number to where that number finally becomes normalized. And that's what's going on over in the UK, especially over in Ireland. The last place that you would think that they are pretty much leading in knife violence, but they have crazy knife violence over there.
Hmm. And then Connie, I know you're not you're not opposed to Second Amendment. Like you're a gun toter. You believe in it, right? Yeah.
You talking to
So
Blakey? You got a
I'm
Blakey?
always back. I got a couple.
yeah,
Team
she's
no
not.
lagging.
Yeah, she's not against carrying guns. I think a lot of most of us feel that way. Like protection, is important, but I just don't see. I don't see the Malcolm Gladwell theory of like, well, one does it, it makes the second one easier to do, makes the third one easier to do, makes the fourth, because knives are just something we've evolved from as far as technology goes. Like you're just not going to be able to inflict the damage in a crowd like you would if you had a gun. It's just not going to happen. People were more apt to engage with you and disarm you, fight with you, survive the attack. In some ways. So I still say certain guns are those things that we need to look at to maybe when you talk about Trudeau banning weapons. There's certain guns that I believe should not be on the street.
We go with
Connie,
this one.
what are your
Tree
no? Is it
hugger.
no? She and
Tree
Connie's not.
hugger.
Connie's a Second Amendment advocate. But what are your thoughts on gun control?
Gun control. When we talk about gun control, I think we need to health, and we actually have to care about it. And the problem is, most understand it, don't have the patience to really care to learn about it, and the help from down low where they shouldn't other things like this from happening. Now, at this point where people are already doing, it's hard to figure out start. And I start is like you said in weapons. I talk with Derek about this all the time. I say, why, if you were unable to enlist or not a police officer, should you be able guns? Any of those guns that you were not fit for either. A lot of times when you're is not a problem with your breathing or anything else, there's a mental test that happens,
Right.
and a lot of times healing. And you should not, if you shouldn't be able to go ahead and get a gun on the outside either. I'm just saying.
That's sensible. Right. Right. No, that's
Hmm.
sensible. And
Come on, tree
and
hugger.
Jen and then Jen, thanks for tuning in. Jen says, as far as the stabbing, she said it doesn't make the next one easier, but I think she's kind of thinking the Malcolm Gladwell line here. It may compel someone who already has the propensity for violence to carry it out. Yes, I
That
think
was
that's
Yeah.
right. Go ahead.
my limited vocabulary did not allow me to pick up the word compel or it being compelling. But that's where I was going with that one. It doesn't make it easier, but somebody may already have the propensity to go ahead and commit it, but it
Right.
does influence them and makes their decision making a little bit more easier that he got away with it or he dropped 25.
Right.
I can do the same thing. Or
Mhm.
if I have a problem, I don't have access to a gun now because I'm too young. Now pick up a knife.
The other thing, how many were dropped with that gun now? I mean, how many more can you drop?
Right.
The whole,
Yes.
you've already sparked the ideal of, and now these kids are just pushing the barriers.
Right. Right. But I still feel like in a situation like that, we're you know, as as full of anxiety as you may be, you see something happening. I think if someone's got a knife, we're going to be more likely to either get away or get people away or engage and disarm them. I think with the guns, we're a society that there's have a lot of guns around, but we there's a fear and respect of guns. When they come out, it's just I mean, it's just the way it is. It's a tool of destruction. That's what it's for. So when it comes out, destruction follows. So uh
There's one I need to dig up on my self defense videos that I watch, and they put a man that was walking on the trail and he had a gun versus a man that had a knife, and the results
right.
were a little different because the knife it has some ink on there, so you can actually see if there was any damage done and where the damage was done.
Mhm.
And then they walked the gentleman through on where he made his mistakes and how he could have came out with better results. But when they got him, the dude had slashes on his arms, he had slashes on his legs, on his groin, and the whole nine. By the time the dude got the gun up, and was actually ready to pull a trigger on the guy, but he was
Yeah.
already slashed up.
No, you're definitely going to do damage. So that's something that we're just going to have to live with a level of violence, and we're just going to get used to that. I mean, and speaking of that, on top of this mass stabbing, this week the kids from Uvalde went back to school for the first time since that event happened. So that these things kind of happen simultaneously. We have another mass violent event, it happens, in Canada, it's not in the US, it's in Canada. And then one of the ugliest ones that have ever happened. These kids now have to go back to that school and try to move on with their lives. And I mean, honestly, when you look at it and you think about what happened, and you guys, give me your thoughts on this. I don't know how that town or those kids recover from that. That was traumatic. And even just watching it, knowing that there's one gunman, there's reports are the police didn't move in like they should. So you're always going to be thinking of what could have happened. There were parents who had to run in there and get their children out, because the police weren't doing anything. And then you got these little kids whose classmates, died in this thing, and they got to carry this, through the rest of elementary school, middle school, high school, you know, the burden of carrying that. So, them having to go back to the school, I don't even know if that was I don't know how they recover from that. I don't even know if I don't, my thoughts, I would think just send them to a different school, tear the school down, or something like that. It's just, how do you walk into that school, and kind of give me your thoughts on it. How do you walk into that school and not have that fear inside of you? Those memories come back. Go ahead.
I I don't think there's any way that you can the school and feel like you're sit there and they watched it and you already know paid in when things were happening. He was let down. And I said, why? Talk to me about what's going on. Put everybody in a corner. Automatic weapons. He says they come in there and they are a target. He
Mhm.
says, this is stupid. He says they shouldn't put us all in the same. And so he doesn't even feel safe in his situation there. But the trauma is all kinds of. You have no idea what's. My father was murdered. I was not. Sirens were a trigger for me, and I
Yeah.
could feel my blood pressure rise, and other
Right.
things just were not cool. We do not know what these be, and it could have been just the building. You have no idea what it's going to be, and I don't
Mhm.
think they even have the appropriate resource. So I'm just curious how many kids went back wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Right. Right.
How many parents
Yeah.
satisfied with releasing their children to that actually wanted to go back.
Right.
For me,
And don't.
what I was looking at was the first 16 bars of Billy Woods, a day in a week in a year. It speaks about the same thing about a lightning strike, being struck by lightning, and how forever Once you pass that spot, you will always be tied to that spot. The same thing with these children. Um, just sending them back to relive the situation all over again, and not only processing their feelings, but how do you actually get them to be able to move forward, how to be able to concentrate on their schoolwork and deal with that they will be left with for the rest of their life.
Yeah. And Dawn just
So
left a comment. Said she said that they did not go back to the building. So that's good. And Jen's comments that they should demolish the building, rebuild it to not look like a school. That's another thing. I could understand some parents not wanting the building gone because they wanted to memorialize them. Um, but and it's great if the kids are not in that same building because, like, that kind of like you mentioned, and I don't know if everybody caught that, but you lost your father to violence, and so there are things that trigger you now right back to that same feeling, that moment, that you were mentioning. So you can imagine, you can empathize with these kids walking into that school, even though it's a different building, but just being in that same environment, looking around and understanding, like, there are people who should be here who aren't, and you just wonder, um, like you said, are they going to get the help, the continued help, year after year, to be able to process that and keep growing, and at some point you'll never get over it, but be okay with it to where they aren't jaded for the rest of their life, that we live in this violent world, although they went through a very unfortunate situation.
but I mean, even if you demolish the building, how do you demolish the memories that they will
Yeah.
still be left with? Because even if you turn it into a garden,
Mhm.
it's still gonna be there. Those memories are still gonna be there. I think as for me, if I were a parent in that one,
Mhm.
we'd have to pack it up and move to Beverly. We'd have to get out of there.
All right.
That's where I was at.
Some of the
Because
kids here in
I
the
wouldn't want to subject
article,
them to that.
yeah, some of the kids in the article, it said that they offered them vouchers where they get to attend private schools. So to your point, Connie, some there's a portion of them that did not come back, and just accepted those vouchers to go to different schools. So it's a tough situation, and but the ones who aren't able to do that, we hope that they're going to continue to get the help that they need to be able to deal with that trauma. Right. Jen's comment, she says, I don't know if they will ever get enough help to get over the trauma. We can only pray. Absolutely. Yeah, it is. You just wonder what a mind of a kid that young, how it's going to affect them.
But then even with that one, the virus that you're possibly getting ready to download into your future children as well, because of something that happened this early in life, and you have to live the rest of your life
Mm,
dealing with this, and then holding your children extra tight to protect them from the world that's out there as well too. Those are
yeah.
the residual effects that go along with that one as well too.
Right.
That's a lot to deal with as well too. The future generations.
It's
Yeah.
a
I mean,
it's
any
a loss
phone call
of
you get. Yeah. Go ahead, Connie.
no, I was just saying loss their innocence. A lot of and they will take it and build some of play outside without worry. They'll like they did normal. It's not their time, and even with the parents themselves, because they're focusing on the kids and trying to be as normal as possible. And you let certain things because you just want them to get what outlet that they get for that time period. Working on making sure that they're okay, you as themselves, because you're making sure that the kids are what they've been through.
Exactly.
And yourself, you just recheck on them. Every time you're down on your check that, hey, guess what? They were sure that you've adjusted.
Great point. Great point. Okay. Well, we're gonna move on from that subject. Headache. Did you have anything else from to add about that from Gladwell?
No, not from Gladwell, but I was just thinking about if this was a situation where this had happened to me and the old lady, and we had children, and they had been caught up in this one. I think I would have had to kidnap my kids and get them away from her because she would have worried herself sick with every little thing. Um, and she's already not a fan of guns anyway. Um, so this one would have been it would have been really difficult. And I honestly think I would have had to kidnap my children and move on to someplace else in order to give them some sense of normalcy. Because, like I said, she is a huge worrier, um, and there would be nothing that she could possibly do to not download those viruses, those scary
Right.
viruses in their heads about something is going to happen. And I wouldn't want to do that. So, like I said, I would have to kidnap them and move clear across the country. And I really wouldn't want to do that, but to give them some sense of normalcy and to bring them back to earth, I seriously think that I would have to do that.
I agree. It would be hard to go back to work, drop your kid off at the school with that having happened, and be at work. Every phone call you get, you're going to be panicking. And I think, and then we who didn't go through it, we kind of sit and wonder, okay, well, when is the next one? And that's a bad way to think of things, but they happen. Just seems like I don't know, more and more frequently, and they're just tragic. And um, other than just, I don't know how to give the parents any kind of reassurance other than dads get together and just stand guard. Take shifts and just stand there at the front of the school, and that may be what it comes to. So, but if like Connie was saying, I think the more people that get help, get go go to counseling before these things develop into some violent, um, you know, manifesting some violent reaction. Start getting people help before they get to the point where they feel like they need to go and hurt a classroom full of kids. So okay, well, if we don't have anything else on that, it's always a somber subject, but we like to talk about it all on here. So we're gonna move on to our mental awareness segment, and we're going to give Headache some time to make sure he's got on his toxic Avenger cape, because we're gonna need the
Yeah,
hero to come through on this
yeah,
one for us. But so
yeah.
last week we talked about we got into a discussion about talking to exes and then holding on to that or whatever that may be.
Don't nobody hold on to
And
nobody.
okay,
Ain't
well,
nobody
all
holding on
right.
to nothing.
It
That's
sounded like
you.
it, but
That's you.
it sounded like it. But but then we also you had mentioned watching Married at First Sight, and so when you've got that history with an ex, all right, whatever role they played in your life, and you're moving on to that new one. So during that first date, those first couple of dates, when is it a good time to have the X discussion? Or do you even have it, or pretend they don't exist? I've done that before. But they, but I felt like, it's almost like, I think you were saying, you got to run down the X list in like week one, and I thought that was a little early. So let's kind of bring up some things of what you could do in week one or the first couple of dates that you go out with somebody, and when is it a good time to have that discussion about the exes. I'm gonna let Connie go
Yeah, you
first.
do that. You do
Okay,
that. You
so
do that.
go ahead and
Please.
set us up, Connie, with some of your thoughts on this. Go ahead.
All right. So I asked a couple people questions. I think you should ask on a first date, right? Actually got slapped down pretty hard by an aunt. Like, yeah, she was like, just have fun. And
Exactly.
I said, it all depends. You're fun, okay? Because the whole to just have fun and you're not dating, partner for or whatever, you guys need to be clear on that part. I see you. I see. So I had some funny just things that would help you to go ahead and find, and just, are you funny? Is it funny? You actually find out, but for simple questions like, dude, how much is a gallon of milk? Where your mental space is. When have you gone grocery? And somebody was like, yo, I don't lactose intolerant. I'm like, okay, so how much is a gallon? And he goes, well, okay, cool. We're gonna live in delirium. Money, but it get you going.
So so you're trying to spark conversation, and
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ask how much is a gallon of milk, but I would like to know how they do, how, just interested in know what they, when they do grocery shopping, what's their mindset, what's their format, how do you attack their grocery store? I mean, it just tells you some things about them. So yeah, so you're not, so let me ask you this. So you're not one you're not one who thinks you should run down the X list in week one, or date by date 2 or 3.
Okay. Now, I do have a rebuttal for that. So if
Oh, okay. So definitely not
Go
on
with it.
first date though, right?
so
You
if you talk to your ex daily or weekly basis, like anytime, say I was talking with headache, right?
okay,
And
okay.
I'm talking to you for like 2 hours on the phone. If you're not on the phone with me, you've had some type of one of these exes. I'm gonna expect because some part of that conversation, I'm pretty sure that you're talking to her about me. So our names
Yeah,
should have
I
popped
am.
up. Now I'm my ex or not, but that's the situation, and that relationship do become relevant. So that's
Okay.
when you need to go that situation and then see how she deals with it. Now, if you don't talk
Okay.
to your ex, then that don't matter. No, you do not run down what you done been with. That is not appropriate.
Right. And Renita, you're not late. You're right on
You're
time.
right on time. Come on in
Toxic
here.
Avenger
Get
cape
you a
is on.
seat and sit on
So
down, sweetheart. Come on, get you some.
Right.
all right, so headache. So we heard Constance, okay,
Yes.
and she actually
Yeah.
gave a good scenario. I'm against running down the X list, in early on. Yeah, I'm against that. But she gave a good example of why you would. So go ahead. Let me hear. You know, in that first
Okay, but
week, in that feeling out period, are you running down the X's?
see, you speaking to a man that spoke to one of his exes today.
No, see
I'm
that.
laying asleep, and then next thing you know, name pop up. Well, matter of fact, the text come through first, which she wanted me to do something. So I told
All
her I'm
right.
not into that. And then next thing you know, the phone call comes in. Matter of fact, I can go ahead and put it out there. She sent me this thing about Cash App, about joining Cash App. So what she said was, if I join the Cash App, she'll get $5. I said, how about this? Since I don't do Cash App, because it's a Negro thing, I don't do Cash App. How about I just go ahead and send you the $5?
She called you to get $5,
No, she
basically.
didn't call me to get $5. She called to have me
Yeah.
join something so she would get the five
So she
dollars.
would get $5.
So
Come on,
me
man.
being the perfect gentleman that I am, that I was raised to be, I can meet you halfway. So since Cash
Right.
App is against me for everything, instead of you getting the $5 from them, why don't I just go ahead and send you the $5?
Go ahead, Connie. She's
Mother,
got
may
her
I?
hands up.
Mother, may
This
I?
this is
Hey,
ridiculous. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'll take $5. My daddy, nobody gonna give it to you. Take it. So headache,
I can't give another
I'll
man's
be at
wife
the house.
money. Derek will not be
What
showing
you
up.
talking about?
If Derek shows up on my doorstep, it will be because we're going to the gun range or because he want to play PlayStation. Other than that, he won't be, say, player, what's up on the $5?
Don
We're
got
not
it
doing
right
that.
though. That wasn't a fight.
It- it's $5, man. For
That's what
what?
I'm.
I'd
Which
pay.
is
There's
my
some
point.
exes. There are some
We're,
exes I would pay $5 to never have to talk to again.
but
I
we
mean, what?
boys, though. She and I are boys. We are cool like that. So she
You
sent me
want more?
little quirky stuff like that because that's who she is. And I allow her to be quirky like that. So we boys. She doesn't want anything from me. I don't want anything from her. She told me about her ex that came over to the house today that the family is still in love with him, even though she is not. So that's one of the things that we do is I banter her about Ricky and about how Ricky loves her and how Ricky wants to be with her, but Ricky don't have a chance.
Yeah, because you
So
still in the picture. Because you still
no,
taking her
I
phone
have
calls.
I have
You the
nothing to
reason
do
why
with that.
Ricky ain't got a chance.
I have nothing to do with that. I don't do cash apps. I don't do cash apps.
That's why Ricky
So
don't have a chance.
So that's the thing, and she's the same one that called and asked me about going on a date and asking her to help her to get dressed. I'm cool with that, and then I can give her a guy's perspective of really don't want to show this. I know what you look like, but you really don't want to show this because you don't want to entice him.
Uh, All right, but so
So
when you're
as far as running down the exes
right,
while we still frozen,
Frozen.
everybody,
oh, but we can hear you. We can hear you. Keep going. Oh,
Okay.
he dipped out and come back in. The heat got too much for him. Okay, so all right. So while he's gone, but before he gets back in, his ex is calling him about $5. That's ridiculous. That ain't what it's about. That ain't what the
No.
call is about. Right. She likes to keep contact with him. She likes the fact that he responds to her text and is involved in her story, which is going to contribute to him not being able to build a relationship with the person he's with now because that interference. Yes, go ahead,
It's,
Connie.
he don't know how to read in between the lines. She's waiting for him to finally get in so that she can slide in there whenever and not ever be drunk
Right,
in a situation. She go take advantage. Okay, he's
right.
a good one, a real one because see it. He could be a good guy, and that's fine. That person's waiting.
Exactly. Which back to last week with the discussion we were having, and the reason it got a little testy that because if you're still allowing that to happen, you're giving them an avenue into whatever situation you got going in. And if you can, and if they can, if they know that they have access to you like that, they're going to continue to. It ain't about the $5. It ain't about the cash app. It's the fact that I can
Nope.
get you to respond, and I've got some control over over you. You know what I mean? And then he goes on to say, well, she even tells me about Ricky, it is, and how she don't like him, but the family likes it. That's just a setup to pull him in. And I don't think I think what was sort of blinding him a little bit is he has this but we've talked about this belief that he has this belief that he needs to be friends with everybody. He can save people. He's, good hearted, and he's trying to make up for some things that he's done in the past. He's kind of in that mindset. um, you know, and I've told him before, you need to forgive yourself. Like one of the things we talk about on as part of his mental health is being able to forgive yourself. But back to the first date or the first week or the first couple of dates in that feeling out zone. I No, you don't run down the list of exes. That to me sets, that to me is a red flag from the other person. You're sitting in front of them and they start immediately running down. Well, my ex did this and the ex did that and I'm this and that. That's a red flag. I like what you mentioned. When you're on those first dates, you keep it casual. You want to build a conversation. You want to know some things, and you don't want to get too personal because you're just really trying to trying to find out, feel them out. That we call that the feeling out period. Yeah, go ahead.
I personally do like because I need to see how much you gonna squirm or not. No, I'm dead ass serious. You might talk to you about this stuff or not. Now I might not all the questions. I might what I told my coworkers, and you need to figure out what are, and those are some of the questions from the beginning. Yeah, do you have a good relationship? Know, because if you don't have a good, that's going to lead to how we interact. Is that a deal breaker? I saw many that can't be my relationship with my mother-in-law. If she don't like me, guarantee it. I to you ASAP because that's just a waste of time. You think I'm
Yeah,
joking? I am. As soon as I found out that she didn't like me and she didn't have, it was done. You know, be cutthroat,
right.
but it's real. You understand debt and money's really important to you. Person, hey, what are your thoughts on debt? Or debt, house debt, whatever. Without anything else in it, what are your ideas? Do you know? And
Well,
just seeing where
yeah.
that I
I mean, you want to get into that, but I mean, in say in that first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, for when you're feeling them out, some of those questions can be a little too personal. I think in the beginning, when you start asking about the exes, and Jen is right. Don't reveal your number because it's going to be used against you. But we already know that whatever number you do throw out is lower than is lower than what it really should be. We know that. We know that. Okay, so that's something we just got to live with. We know you're gonna. At some point you are gonna get to that number. You're gonna throw it out, and we're gonna know you're lying, and we'll just move on. We'll just live with that. Um, but what should happen though in those first few weeks is you got to become more than just acquaintances. You got to be friends, and I agree. Those questions are all important because you need to know if you can go further than being friends. But I just think sometimes we put too much pressure on, especially people who are out there. I haven't been in the dating world in a long time, but you know, putting pressure on themselves to try to hurry up, especially if they're older, to try to hurry up and get to a point to where I can identify you as a match. I need a match. Social media, you're a match, you're a match, you're a match. You know what I mean? We're so quick to move to that we don't spend that time to develop just, hey, what do you do for a living, and do you like it, and what is it that you really want to do, those type of things, to find out if the person's even interesting. So go ahead.
no. Well, real talk. You've already gone there, and you kind of most of the family members that I have are married now. They found your likes, your dislikes, and things kind of been discussed, and now you're just things. So when your profile and you're listed on there, if you've been honest and that person is on for it, right? Now you need to see what's really good, and what kind of person what your intent is. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
Don's comment.
I,
Don's comment says when asked about your number, just say one at a time. When you're asked how many. Yeah, you know what? Actually, that's a good response to how many. One at
no,
a time.
no, I'm just saying, if you just got to be prepared for that number, good or bad. If this number is here or if it's down there, to that. So let's talk about that
Good.
before we get to so that you kind of either soften the blow or frozen
We
on me. Hold.
know. Oh, you're still good. You're good. We we know the number is going to be a lie. Um, so there we go. You're back. Hold on. We know the number is going to be a lie. All right. There we go. You're back on. We know the number is going to be a
Sweet.
lie. So let's just no, let's not even get hung up on that. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Especially if you know you're a mature person, you're an adult. I'm lying. She's lying. We know it. Okay. Let's just move on. All right. The most important thing I think is you really like I found this article like how to mentally prepare for that, that first date, getting out there, and it talks says things like really building up yourself mentally. How confidence is key. So you got to really like be proud of who you are. Okay. And let's not get hung up on these high school things, that these are things that people get mad about in high school and all. And be adults, man, and go out there and just honestly, you got to get to know the person, find out what drives them, what makes them tick, and instead of diving into all these personal things in those first couple of dates that sometimes I feel like nowadays may just be a turnoff. You know,
Boy, that's not. Again, you're dating for a purpose, and that's why tell me what your purpose is from the beginning. But I like she says the first question is we can reframe that or the different question on that one. I would double check and make sure they're single in this day. Married, you know, do you have kids? I'm just saying, I just have to put it out there and percent honest with each other. You are not married, right? You're dating multiple people. You know, single conversation. I'm only talking to you or that. Mm-hmm. Question:
well, yeah,
are you
okay.
living with someone? I'm questions. I had too much. I wasn't about to live and want all that drama. You
Right,
know, was I ever?
right. Yeah. Um, so I mean, of course, their questions are coming from, maybe the personal view or something like that. I mean, the question, why
No,
are you single? Why are you single is, it's sort of a loaded question. Why are you single? I mean, if you're on a first date with somebody, you really honestly, I just want to know who you are. Maybe like these days you find them on a profile somewhere, like you said, and you get a date. Now I just want to know who you are. So you're gonna come to the table. Why are you single? Are you married? Are you living with someone? Are you this that and that? Let's just see if you can hold a conversation about something that's interesting, and then if there's a second date, then I may need to ask some extra questions here. um I just feel like when you get too personal on that first date, it's a turn off.
what's your
And
first
which is why
question?
running down the x's is ugly. My first
I
question. Well, first of all, I'm gonna
Yeah,
bring headache back in. There he
Yeah,
is,
you
back
do
with us.
that.
All
cool.
right. Okay. So my first question. I'm trying to think back. Okay. Um, my first question. If it's someone, yeah, me. Well, I can just think like when me and Shimmy first started dating. We hadn't seen each other in a long time, so it was a lot of what have you been up to since I last saw you? What's going on with you? Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So it gave me a chance to kind of walk her walk. Since we hadn't seen each other in a while, and see what has been going on in her life. That was interesting. That led to a second one, and I did the same thing, second date. So we weren't like running down. Well, let me ask you something. You live with you did checklisting them. Oh no, that to me is flying your toxic Avenger cape, right in front of them. It's a red flag.
You
Go ahead, headache.
can't
Since you've
answer.
been gone,
Yes,
go ahead.
come on.
I really appreciate you painting me in this light. I really do, because it is so not what it is. I understand that first dates, they're not supposed to come off like I am interviewing you with
Yeah, exactly.
deep
Yes.
diving, direct questions of this, this, what's your credit score, what you want to be in 5 years, this, that, and the
Yes.
third. It's not about that. The idea is, first of all, for me, a first date is someplace like Starbucks where you don't have to get dressed up.
Okay.
You come in, we sit down, we conversate, we reestablish something in that time frame that we have together without me having to expect that I kick out $600 for a date and then I get mad because I don't get any at the end of the night. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just
You
here for the
you
conversation.
spent how much? 600?
That's what I'm saying. So
Oh,
I don't have to spend the 600 and then get mad that I didn't get anything at the end of the date.
that ain't
So the first date is someplace where we can sit down and we can
600
talk.
is going down.
I'm gonna send you this thing with Jock and young ladies talking about how much a date should cost, and 600 was
Oh,
about
it's going down.
was
600.
about medium. I'm not a $600 date dude.
How much were some of y'all examples? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
How much? Who?
How much on a
Your
first
first
date?
date. Yeah.
Starbucks. Starbucks. A drink, some cookies. I'm sitting there because, and my thing with Starbucks is, you had the upper hand with your war paint on and your Ephraim girl dress on with your boobs all up on your shoulders looking like shoulder pads and all the rest of that. On a Starbucks date, you come there with a little lip gloss on, you look regular, like what it is that I'm getting ready to buy.
Dawn said, I need to see your natural light. I agree.
Thank
Renita
you.
says, I'm going
Thank
to
you,
vet you.
Dawn.
I'm
That's
going
what
to
I'm
vet
talking
you.
about. That's where you get
Right. I
Starbucks.
agree.
That big glass in the front. That's all you getting is just straight natural light.
Renita's comment is, I'm going to vet you by phone first. I agree on that. And Jen says 600. She said her number just went up by $1. So she's gonna be she's gonna be charged a little more on these first dates. So, but but
But that's what
yeah,
it is. Is
I
is
agree
me
with you.
asking you questions or steering the conversation so that I can allow you to do a large portion of the talking.
Mhm.
So go ahead and do your talking. I can drop something here and there and then keep the conversation going. But it's looking at your body language, if you're tensing up, if you're flexing, or if you're doing this while you're asking questions. Those are
Yeah,
red flags
because
that I
that's
need to know
right.
coming straight in the gate. So as far as dropping X's on the first date, no. But speaking of X's and not finding out what's going on with the X's, what was up with the Atlanta rapper Trouble? And that happened two X's down from me. When he didn't
But
know what was going on with the X's, and then next thing you know, dude upped it and he wound up dead on the ground. So I
oh,
need to know what's going on with you and your exes. That's
okay.
why, that's how you segue into what's going on with your exes. And then you can say, well, I'm cool with my exes, this, that, and the third. Or I got a crazy dude that's toting a Glock 19 and he don't mind pulling it on you. So
Exactly.
that's why I get exes out of the way early, not to get into your business, but to protect all of these, baby. All of these.
Well, okay. Again, stop fishing in the wrong pond. Are
Bro,
you pulling fish
bro.
out that got killer X's? What you doing?
How
Where
do you
you
know
No.
that?
where you
Okay,
getting
so
them
how am
from?
I supposed to know she has a killer ex? Or how do I not know that she is Mercedes and she got these dudes that's looking to hang on and that's hanging around and all the rest of this? And then while we're out and I'm being a gentleman, and then dude, we run into dude, but I don't know what's going on, and you didn't tell me, then you're gonna expect me to step forward and protect
No,
you and put my life and freedom on the line. That's what you're going to expect of me. But you did
not at
not
all.
give me warning. Hey, dude over here, he don't have it all. And I told you about, oh, now you're gonna act like I didn't tell you my situation on what happened with the old girl and her ex and what he put me through. You're gonna really act like we didn't have that conversation.
Well, okay. I'm gonna let Connie
Connie,
get
please.
her comment. Yeah, I'm gonna let Connie
Hello.
We're
get
gonna
her
we're gonna
comment
we're
in.
gonna we're gonna let Almond sit in here for a second. Please, Connie, please.
I'm just saying, we are now dating in the year 20, expecting anybody to not have a bad count be high up on your list. Real talk. That there
Okay.
is officially no question that's the questions are now: do you have any kids? Do you have multiple baby daddies? Are crazy.
Thank
Hold
you.
on. No, that goes back
Thank
to
you.
dating you. And then once
Right.
you meet, okay, I know exactly who I'm dealing with because kid is a drop in the bucket from the other parent. Okay,
Right.
when you
Right.
procreate, better believe you get.
Right.
So that's all I'm trying to say. You segued by using going on now to go ahead and pop in there and feels about situation. It doesn't have to be conversation to go ahead and bring up these conversations. Do you own your car? Was one of the questions that make sure that you ask that.
Why? Why
Car
are you asking that?
yours.
Why?
Just like
Why
just
is? Why is that coming up in the
just like
first,
for
second, or third week a day? I mean, you don't even know if you want to really be with this person
You willing to
past
share your car?
past the end of the month. No, of course not. No.
Exactly my point. So if that person's coming up ahead of time, if I got a Felicia that's trying to borrow my car,
Well, I
or
think you're getting ahead of
or
yourself
or
when it's just the first date. Go ahead.
my thing with this one is it's just like asking the question of, is there somebody changing your oil? Do you have
Uh-oh.
somebody changing your oil?
That ain't none of your business.
Why is it not?
Not on the
That leads
first
right
date.
back. That leads right back into this man laying on the ground, dead, behind something else that has nothing to do with me. So if you got somebody changing your oil, I should be able to say the same thing too. Yes, until my situation changes, yes, I am changing someone's oil. My dipstick is in someone's engine block. Yes, it is.
And why are you
And
out
then
there?
she
Why are you out there taking dates? Why are you out there all in people's profile, talking about
for
meet me at
fun,
Starbucks?
for fun. Certainly what it's about.
Okay,
That's what I said.
okay.
Intent
and to
important.
Renita's question or her statement about Starbucks, my number one priority, even with my old lady, is to make sure she feels safe and that she feels like she is with me. So Starbucks is something light, it's lighthearted. There's no expectations other than come in, sit down, throw this drink in your mouth, have a good conversation, and then
That's
you
it.
get to go home and
Right.
find out if you like me or not to
Exactly.
continue this on. That's
Exactly.
what Starbucks is for. So as far as you might not like my voice, that's cool. I'm cool. Like I told you last week, I'm cool with it.
Right.
Yeah,
You can do Starbucks and you may never see them again if you feel like that didn't work out. So
Renita, I
why are
still
we
got
running down X's?
Renita, I still got these same $14 on my desk. You could take that up the block with them wolves that are willing to bend over and be whatever it is that you want them to be. But like I just stated, my first
No,
priority is to make sure that you are comfortable
I think
coming
what she's
and going.
saying is she just has a standard. She just is going to have a standard. That's it.
And here's my standard: $14. That's my standard. $14. So as far as that, yes, I do have the right to know if somebody's changing your oil or not.
No, you don't.
That gives me the decision on. I get to make the decision on if I'm cool with this because if I know that someone is changing your oil going into this, when do I tell you or put it up on the board? You need to stop having sex with dude.
Go ahead, Connie.
If somebody leads into active you are, you can go ahead and change certain statement like it's a direct attack on somebody. Reframe the question, readjust. Like, this is how scratchy I am. I mean, he has one of them. Headache, he like your mic. Here, set it
Thank you.
up. He said, thank you. Okay. You're welcome. Here, y'all. You have HDMI mic? Derek, keep on the side. You still scratchy. Adjust your mic. Does for you. See, this is called a solid team. Was here to
Teamwork.
go ahead and
That's
help
right.
out. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
It makes.
Yeah, but my thing to both of y'all is, I think when we probably need to define, I think we're not good at defining the word dating. Okay, I'm gonna just put a little feather in my cap. So I learned how to date when I was in college, and it was just not something people knew how to do well. But my let me get it. Let me tell you, I learned how to date when I was in college, and it's literally what I would say. Hey, we're gonna go to the movies on Wednesday, and we're gonna have a great time.
Wait a
Okay?
minute. Wait a minute.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
go ahead.
Wait a
Go
minute. Wait
what?
a minute. Do you not reconfirm? You say we're going to date on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Do you not reconfirm on Tuesday?
sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying,
Okay.
hey, we're going on a date on Wednesday. We're gonna go to the movies. I get you something to eat and a little popcorn. I'll have a good time. I'll drop you back off. We'll have a great time. All right, we're gonna have fun and get to know you. Okay. Do not trip if you see me at the same movie theater on Friday with someone else. Don't trip.
You
It's
talking
called
about this dude?
it's called dating. It's called dating.
On the
Dater.
roster.
It's called dating. That's what it's called. It don't go past the event. It doesn't go past the event. Now, if we then are moving into a different phase, that's when the questions come up. But that's going to happen after. I like what Renita said. She's got like a 2-week feel out period over the phone. Renita, I think you're moving a little slow, but
Thank you.
if you
Thank
on the
you.
phone, if you on the phone for 2 weeks, you might need to get out of the house because that might be why it didn't work. Because 2 weeks
You
on the phone is a
scary.
long time.
You
But
scary.
yeah,
That's what that is. You scary.
you might be scared. But I'm just saying, there is a feel out period, and then when you say, okay, I'm going to date you exclusively, okay, when you feel comfortable enough to feel like you want to go there, then you start having the little deeper conversations about, okay, do you have a crazy ex? All right. Great. If you don't, then you start having those conversations. That's when you let her know,
I'm
hey,
surprised
I
you're here
got
right now.
I got an ex that might give you a side eye when we go into this building. You give her the heads up. That's when you do that, but not on week one.
So you talking about in real time? We getting out of the car. We going in the building, and oh, by the way, you really gonna hit somebody with by the way?
It depends on how crazy the ex is.
When?
If
Man,
it's an
Negro,
ex that's gonna
please.
step to her, I'm gonna let her know. Hey, let me
In
know
real
what happened.
time, you're gonna let her know in real time versus giving her a heads up and let her make the decision on if I'm cool with this or if this does not work for me. And
Yeah.
back to once again, Renita, you're scary. That's what that is. Renita is scary.
Oh, she said you take them to the movies to avoid questions and conversation.
Thank
No,
you.
no,
Thank
absolutely
you.
not.
Yes, you do. You can't talk in the movies.
No, no. I think I think
You
the
can't
movie
talk next.
spurs
You
conversation.
should.
It
You'll
spurs conversation.
learn something. You listen to the movies and they talk through the whole movie because that's your entire movie.
Oh no, we cool with that. I'm cool with that one. I'm cool with that one because I could hey say, look here, bro. I'll say, hey, look here, bro, you in a minute. So I'm cool with that one. With you talking through the movies.
But see, the I think the movie spurs conversation. I do.
How?
I don't
How,
think
Sway?
you can hide comedy. In the movie, things happen in the movie. You find out what they laugh at, or what I laugh at, what they get emotional about, what strikes them, and and then after the movie's over, man, was it good? What you like? You start sharing moments about it. It spurs conversation. I mean,
If,
I mean,
if you're gonna
I
do
think
that, if
I think both of you are just being too negative
bro, if
about.
you're gonna
Time.
do that, you do that you're gonna do something like that at the museum or something like that, where you all can
Thank you.
walk around and view things, and then you can hold a conversation about what's going on. But you want to hold a conversation about a movie during the movie while the movie is playing? Negro, please.
Thank you.
A movie is a
Yes,
worst. That's the worst place you could take somebody on a first date. It's cheesy.
no,
Yep.
I do it all the time, or did it
Exactly.
all.
And you see what
Eh,
happens. You see where we are now in a disconnected society where we don't really talk or we talk enough to get what we want, and then we wind up scary.
Dawn's comment about the exes, letting them know beforehand. She needed to know before the date so she
Thank
could
you.
pack her purse.
Thank
All
you.
right. No, listen, listen.
Thank you.
I first of all, I didn't fish. I didn't fish. I didn't fish in Gordon Lakes. Okay. I didn't get those infected fish. As exes. I didn't have crazy ones. All
I
right.
don't either.
I mean, I had border. They were borderline. I had a few borderlines, but I could handle that.
They're not
So I
border.
was
Mine
never.
are.
I never put anybody in a situation where they might be in some, in particular threat. Okay. My exes were less aggressive. When it's over, it's over. You know what I mean? That's it.
Mine, mine are so they are so cool. They will be cordial and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna hit you this week,"
No.
and we will hold a conversation on. She was cool. This is what I picked up. This, that, and the third. Or you're not for her.
And do you feel like Connie's comment, when if you're that involved with your exes, then when you're on say in a hypothetical situation when you're on a first date, are you going to explain to them that you've got a relationship with multiple exes
Not on a first date. That might come up in the conversations. With
at
the
so
with the with the do you have someone changing your oil? What's the deal with your exes? What type of gentleman? What type of gentleman are you used to dating? Because I might not be hood enough for you. I
man.
might not be a dude that's willing to cake.
Jen says she's gonna absolutely need to be told about her before the first date. She
Thank
says she
you.
has long arms and no priors, so she's an ex who will get busy. Okay, and so Jen's that type of ex who will put hands on somebody. Apparently, that's what she's saying.
But I
So
don't
you
need you
you
to do that. That's where I come into play and I
right.
diffuse the situation, and then bam, this, that, and the third. But that gets back to the type of women that I date.
Okay, fishing in the wrong pond or the right pond.
mhm.
Okay,
Okay, but
Your
you're
picker
acting
jacked
like
up.
women. You're acting like women don't develop, that their temperament doesn't change the deeper that their feelings get, and they could start out one way and then end up they could end up like they came out of Gordon Lakes.
yes, that's why you don't need to be engaged with your exes.
For
Connie,
what?
Connie, go ahead, Connie.
We're
Get her to
cool.
comment. I mean,
We're
he's taking me in
cool.
circles. He's taking us in circles here. Go ahead, Connie.
I've already told him and that a little bit that he tried for some bad choices. I don't know if you're a believer or not, but maybe you just need to towards the future. I'm trying not on any wrong toes without on, but
Don't
I don't.
sugarcoat it. Go ahead and give it to him.
No,
Exactly. Give me the medicine. Give me the Buckleys. Give
I
me the
need
castor oil.
you to tell me what to these exes. Real talk.
What do I do? What about my exes?
Why? Why are you holding on to them? Because I don't know
We're
if you
not
caught.
okay, but
Wait,
that's
wait,
the
wait.
thing
I
is
don't know.
we're
So when you had dropped this, had talked a little bit more, okay, and I don't know if you heard it or not, but I said, you're not reading in between the lines. But she's waiting for you to have a drunken night in between there where she ain't supposed to be.
Right.
You don't see it, okay? See, I'm that female friend of the truth that you don't want to go ahead and see or admit. It makes me think that you do know, but you don't want to go ahead and take that. You're like, okay, cool. I kind of sense it a little. Go ahead and be honest with me. I'm being honest with you. Drunk.
Okay. We have been friends. We have been friends. Next year will be 20 years. If you haven't caught this boat in 20 years, it ain't happening. The other one, we have been friends for 25 years. The one that called me today, we have been friends for 25 years. I have been there with her through it all. We have a wonderful relationship as friends. So why am I going to throw that away? She didn't do anything to me. I haven't done anything to her. We're cool. It works.
Ever be married?
No.
No.
Chris. Okay. And see, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah, he's not. He's not.
No. Do
Okay, but
the being married.
Okay, but kind of even with this one, this weekend has been 18 years that I've been with this person. She knew from the jump, from the gate. This is what I'm coming with. These exes, they coming right along with me. They're not in my business. They don't ask any questions. What I have with them is separate from what I have with my old lady.
I'm trying to understand and make sure that you are not a normal situation.
And the same thing is going on with my mother not with one back. 2X, with 2X. She did not understand it, even though she is the one that has beat this mess in my head. Be friends before you get together. Be friends while you're together. Be friends afterwards. But then with this one, because she fell in love with 2X, and she is still in love with 2X, she wants to forget, you taught me this. Be cool, be cordial, be friends. Have all of this and have a wonderful relationship. You all don't have to be lovers to still have a great friendship. My level of relationship with my exes is the same level I got with Almond Brown. He can pick up the phone and call me whenever, however, about whatever. They got the same right. And we don't reminisce and catch flat tires down memory lane. We don't do that. Just like I'm calling you about my Cash App. Something that Almond would do.
I wouldn't call you to get $5 out of your Cash App.
The same thing Almond would do. The same rights that he have are the same rights that they have. They respect my relationship. They are not worried about my current. My current is worried about them. And the reason she said that she is worried or was worried about them at one point in time was,
of course,
they know you. They know you. And if they want to get back with you, they know how to do it. And I'm like, yo, you acting like I don't have some kind of say in this, that they come in there. You know how you girls do. Y'all come in there and y'all start slow blinking and speaking real soft and slow and think I'm just going to fall down on the ground and start licking the ground you walk on. That's not it.
What I'm
we boys.
Mm-hmm. Nah. She ain't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, my question intents of being married.
And you can see he just said he's the current relationship been with years. They can't move on. They can't something keeping it from going to another level. And there's some I think there's some toxic red flags, maybe from both sides. But for
Watch
him
this
to
one.
drag your exit to give him, it doesn't matter what you do. It's just the fact that you would give them access to you like that. And understand y'all been friends for a long time, but at some point they should respect the relationship. You know, when if I'm cool with a female and then she starts dating a guy and it's like, somebody we said, you know what? Hey, go build that relationship. Our friendship ain't gonna change. We'll still be cool. I don't even have to talk to you for months. Go put your time into that relationship. Build that trust. That is priority. And then you know what? We can double date one night. I'd love to meet him. Shake his hand, let him know, hey, I'm just a friend. I'm not a threat. That kind of thing. They should have enough respect to give you room to
Who
to
says
make
that they
sure
does? Who
that's
say
fine.
that they don't? Who
When they
say that
call
they
you for
don't?
$5 on the cash app, I need $5 for my cash app.
Okay, but look, you haven't asked when was the last time that we talked, and you have never, not once, have you asked how often
You
do
said
we talk?
yesterday. You said
I
no. You
said no,
said
I
today.
didn't. No, I didn't. I said we spoke today,
Today. That's right.
and the last time that we spoke was months ago.
And she just hit you up out the blue for $5.
You do the same thing.
No, man,
So
we
what's
talk.
the
We talk a little
difference?
more than that.
What's the difference? And we in the
Five
conversation extended.
dollars.
The conversation extended. See, this is what you do.
That's what she wanted. Go ahead and
This
say
what
it.
you
Go ahead and
this
say it.
this
Go ahead and
this
say it.
this what you do. You find your little piece of meat and then you hold on to it and you don't let go. The conversation was not, it stemmed off of a text that she sent me, but we spoke about something else. We spoke about something real that does not need to happen. And that's being her friend. Not being an ex, but that's being her boy. It would have been the same thing. If you had done the same thing, I would have told you the same exact thing. And you're not my ex. You too light skinned, first of all. You ain't dark enough, first of all. So I wouldn't date you because
I'm
you ain't
almond
dark enough.
brown, baby. Almond brown, baby.
Because you ain't dark enough, baby. But we don't sit around and reminisce about old days. We talk just like I'm able to hold a conversation with her, just like I'm able to hold a conversation with you, and just like I am doing the same with Derek's wife.
I get it. I get it. I get it.
There is
But
a
I'll
level of
But you don't
respect
call
that
me
I
on the
owe
phone.
Derek, even though
right.
I have never met him. I may never meet him, but there is a level of respect that this gentleman
No,
has
you did. I
earned.
think you went to the range with us. He went to the range with us, I think. I think he was with us when he went to the range. But look, I'm gonna let Connie get her comment in. But Jen said something key. Boundaries. There are you're not gonna have a healthy relationship without boundaries. And
Of
then
course.
Renita's comment is there's too much of an emotional attachment between you and these exes that you keep trying to
That
save
they have
with your
earned it.
toxic
They
cape.
earned it.
You got the
They
cape on.
earned it.
You got the cape. They didn't earn nothing. You got the cape on,
No,
and you're
Who?
trying to
Who
save.
the fuck
But
are
go ahead,
no.
Connie.
you?
Go ahead, Connie. Go ahead.
Don said it right. That these women can only relationship as you have for your
Mm-hmm.
relationship wholeheartedly. And be disrespectful to your mate. It is downright disrespectful. I got your back, but you being disrespectful, homie.
Here's what I have. Here is what I have done, Almond Brown, with the situation that I explained to you, and the lengths and the depths that this gentleman went to wreck my relationship with my old. We are now at the stage where we are cordial. Even at holiday times, he don't reach out to me. I reach out to him. This gentleman has been able to go forward and have a family and have children while at the same time looking to throw monkey wrenches in mine. I don't have any ill feelings towards him. I understand where he is. I understand where he was and the mistake that he made. He gambled and he lost. But that does not stop me from being cordial enough to say, How you doing? Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. I hope that you and the family are doing well, or reach out to him periodically and ask how he is doing. I have no hard feelings with this dude.
And I would imagine if he's doing that, if he's trying to monkey wrench your stuff, his home life isn't that great. There's something going on there himself.
He
All
It's
right.
it's
got
not
too much
great because of something
time.
else. It's not great because of something else that has nothing to do with me, that has nothing to do with my old lady. That
When you,
does not stop me. That does not stop me from being, and we go through this every week. The difference between what I do and who I am. Me reaching out to him man to man, regardless whether he dated my old lady or not, that is who I am.
can't do
Of course
it.
you can.
I can't. I ain't
And I
doing that.
wouldn't expect you to.
Hell
I
no.
wouldn't. I wouldn't expect Derek to. Constance. I wouldn't expect you to. I wouldn't expect Ricky to do it. I wouldn't. I don't expect nobody to do it. But that is who I am. Just because you had sex with her, that was then. That didn't have nothing to do with me. I don't care what you did to her, what you did on her. I don't care. That was before my time. And that's
So,
where men's egos get caught up is, well, I used to hit her, or the first thing they hit you with is, yeah, how you like this and how you like that. I don't care. I like it just fine. What about you? You're not hitting it
oh,
anymore. You're
so
not
you
hitting it
so
anymore. So how's that working out for you?
so once again, you go back to the Color Purple movie, okay?
I
Because
can do that.
you was
I can
talking
do
Color
that.
Purple early
I
on.
can do that.
Now the Color Purple
I can
movie,
do that.
when Mister and and Suge's
Exactly.
new
And
man was
we
up there
both had her
talking,
in
and he
our
said,
own
"That's right,
way.
I
We
had her
both
my
had her
way,
in our
and you
own
had her
way.
your way, but we
Exactly.
both had her." Ha ha ha
Exactly.
ha ha. Man, ain't
Exactly.
nobody have ain't no way.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Connie.
Exactly. Be
Like I
the
said,
change that you want to see in the world. And I am that change. And if Renita wouldn't date me,
Oh, we know that ain't happening. She already see
man,
take
you
these
out there.
$14, Renita.
like I said, that's just touching it. If you ain't got no business talking with that working you, they ain't your accountant, which I don't know. If he's really, really good, okay, cool. And you can go ahead and trust that. Okay. But no, like I ain't telling you to be besties either.
Why
Right.
not?
All that.
Why not? So now
Answer
you get to pick
Renita's
my friends?
question.
You get to pick my friends now. And
Answer
and
Renita's
and, and
question.
Almond Brown, you know how I am about them shoes. And I do
Yeah,
acquire shoes.
right.
And periodically, hey, I'm looking for this. But no, get out my face. Get out my face. I'm not talking to you. We
Eh,
used to have sex back in the day. So go
I
get your
know
own man and go
saying.
get your own shoes.
I
We
know.
ain't
It
doing
sounds
that.
silly. I know.
We ain't doing
There's
that.
there's a level of that you're going to continue to have, a level of respect, a level of just connection because of the old relationship. Now, Renita's question, and she wants you to answer: if your ex needed a place to stay, could she move in with you?
No,
You and
no,
say it loud and proud.
no,
That's right.
no.
There you
I
go.
will
okay.
help you go get a spot, but I will help you get a spot over there. But even with you, if you came and asked to live with me that you didn't have any place to go, you can't come here. It has nothing to do with us being boys. I love you to death. I will help you go get your own spot. But getting you in here is one thing, getting you out is something else. And I don't want to fracture our relationship like that.
So
So
you
if you
don't went
need
all the way down the road to say if she needed a place to stay and they got
exactly,
an
and if you
ex, help
but
them out.
the same, it don't just go for her, it go for you too.
I'm just saying, how much money are you willing to go ahead and go wherever too?
Come
I'm
on
like,
now, we're not paying
because
rent now. We ain't down in the valley now. We ain't doing that.
I'm just
I'm
saying
not
I
putting you
gotta
through
double
college.
check with you.
I'm not putting you through college. Like I said, help. I didn't say do. I will help you. After that one, you got more friends than me.
I would think it would be with a friend. I think it would be okay. With an ex, yeah, there's a problem there.
No,
I
it's
see
the
that.
same thing with me. That's
All right.
but see, that's the way things work over here. And I have been put in that position with a family member.
Mm.
Same thing with him. Love him to death. But I don't want you to get up in here and be like, you got all of this room. It's only just you. Let's turn this into the spot. And my spot is not the spot. Turn your
Oh,
spot into the spot and we cool. So I will help you. I will help you find some place to stay. We will still be boys. It ain't that I don't want you here, but that is the rule. That is when I bought this house, I bought this house.
mm.
But I feel the
So
same way. But I feel the same way about live-in though. I don't believe in live-in. I don't. Heck.
right.
So it's this. It's not just for my exes. It's for everybody. But that's the rule up the creek. At the creek, you can't stay at the creek
But now,
because if
see,
something happens here, I'm on the hook, and to keep us from falling out, or you damaging something, or you've been here for a minute, and this same conversation I had with the old lady the other day. If one of our boys that's in trouble, he needed to come here, but you bring in your ex, how am I gonna tell you I'm the only person that can have sex in this house? So you can't come here.
see how you create these scenarios that go
Okay.
way
And then
past,
and then
way,
and then what happens when they do
way
happen?
past.
And then what happens when they do happen? Like I said, I love you to death, but I don't want you to get in your mind that just because it's me here in this house, I can help you with the rent. And
Who
I can
would do
stay here.
that?
People.
What kind of this kind of pond you fishing in? Who would do that?
We have friends like that, sir. You and I, collectively, we have friends like that.
I don't know. I'd have to check them. I don't know.
So and even so, even if I did have someone that was coming here because of the respect that I have for my old lady, I would run it across her first.
Absolutely, yes.
So I don't want y'all to think that I'm just this totalitarian, that I'm Mr. Putin up in this piece and it's my way or the highway. It is, but it isn't.
All right. Well, I got this article pulled up as we're going to kind of wind down on this topic. But the article's titled "Things to Talk About on the First Date." So I don't know if we I think Connie probably gave the best example
She
of
would.
when you could talk about an ex on a first date. I thought that was legit. If there's a real connection relationship, that's something that's going to be ongoing, and whatever that relationship is, it's going to be a part of the new relationship. You gotta address that kind of quickly. But first things to talk about on the first date, and just go through real quickly. Start with casual conversation, contextual conversation, like Connie said, hey, what kind of milk are you drinking? Some work that way into the conversation some type of way. You can ask him or her what is their go-to drink if you guys are out having drinks, or well, hey, just want to know, hey, what do you like to drink? That's one thing to ask.
That should have already been established so that while
This is
while
we're
she's
talking
parking the
first
car,
dates.
you can already have her drink
Okay.
ready for her. So
Yep.
that's no, that should already been well established.
And number two says, ask what their day or week has been like. And that's a good question to have. So get a little bit of insight on what they go through each day. Talk about what's really happening in the world. I think this is key. Is it somebody, I really like someone who keeps up with current events, who can speak on what's going on in the world. That just shows a level of intellect. So when you ask them what's going on in the world, and if they got a real answer, or they don't, that's key. Go ahead, Connie.
That's when their answer. Why don't you have an answer? You work at 60 hours a week? Was you stressed out? What are the reasons why? So make sure you just go ahead and build on that. Okay.
Hmm. Good point. It does say bring up something from their dating profile, and that's how people date these days. They find each other online, and you headache. You had mentioned earlier how you found your Lizzo. You found her online.
With
That's
Lizzo.
how
Shout out to the big girls.
you found her online, and just so we love Lizzo. We're not Aries Spears here. It says, notice and ask about small details. Like Dawn noticed Connie's hair. You know what I mean? Those little things, little details like that. Men have to work on that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't notice the small details. So sometimes we got to work on that. And give them genuine compliments, not fake, phony compliments. When those compliments are a little phony, a little contrived. So it says give them genuine compliments. Ask how they feel about their job. I don't know. This might be a question you want to stay away from. I didn't really necessarily agree with that question. Because sometimes that can be sensitive for a lot of people. A lot of people don't, a lot of people don't like their jobs. Go
My
ahead. Yeah,
OnlyFans
Connie.
is popping this week.
Right?
Go ahead. What's up, Connie? Go ahead.
So I had a coworker. Hey, how's your day going? Your day in hell. And I say that to him every day, right? In a week's couple months, and then one day I said, you know what? It's all right. And he just looked, and I said, no, 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 no. I said it's not an ass. You just
And Don's
gotta
comment says
ask
it's
him. Mhm.
yeah. Don's comment says intelligence is definitely number one on her list, hence the Duncan at the end of her name. We knew
Keep
David
going.
very well. And
Keep
then
going.
she
That
says,
one on the top too.
you're about to find out dealing with a disgruntled postal worker. Yeah, that's why I had a problem with that question. Because depending on their situation, that could be a sour subject. Yeah.
Mhm. When are you
Okay.
the
I,
person about to be jobless?
right. Right. I mean, yeah, you may not want to talk about that.
I
Things
don't.
may
I
not
don't.
be going well on the job.
I think
I don't know if I
you
like you well
should.
enough to know if I want to know about your job status.
Hmm.
As long as you're working, that's the only thing I need to know is and that
Mhm.
your job is not OnlyFans.
When
Right.
you start, I feel like when you start asking about the job and where you work, that's the investigative part of it because now you start in your mind like, who do I know that work there or works there or may know that you start associating, pulling into your circle like, okay, wait a minute, they could say something. I work at such and such hospital. You go, ooh, I got a couple X's over there. You know what I mean? And like,
There you go.
and
There you
then
go.
yeah, so that could open the door up for you not getting a second date. So I'm
Exactly. And
just
then
saying
you're not telling her that you got a couple of exes that work over there in the psych ward.
that's true. Number 8 says, ask what things they're passionate about these days. I like that question. I like that subject. I really think that's where you start to find out, who somebody is. You ask them what they're passionate about. That's where they open up and they're more comfortable. I think when you get to that question, you find people be more comfortable. Connie, what you think about that one?
What you're passionate about is okay. What are you doing about? Are you actually actively per se, or is that just something that you mark on a list? Okay, what you're passionate about can keep you happy versus about golfing, but I ain't been in 10 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And a red flag, just like when you ask them about current events or what things are going to, if they can't answer, they don't have anything to say. If they don't have anything to say about what they're passionate about, that I can lose interest. That
If
I need you to be
you're
somebody.
dating, no, no, no. If you're dating a single mother or divorced or anything like that, her life is her kids
Yeah,
providing. So you can't be too mad because no, she don't no passion. Shit, she's surviving. Okay, has too. But you just know
right.
that
Good point.
hard work.
Good
Okay, and
point.
that current events thing, that's kind of hit or miss because what I'm into, you may not be into, just like the thing with the mass stabbings. If I ask you about that and you're not into that, because especially since they didn't push it out there, how am I supposed to look at you then?
I was
I'm not a Rhodesia. I'm
camping.
not from Rhodesia, so I don't know what's going on in Rhodesia. So if you hit me about, did you hear what's going on in Rhodesia? And I'm not Rhodesian, so I don't know what's going on in Rhodesia. Does
You
that
might.
make me? Does that make me lesser than?
Nah. Oh, you,
just
y'all might
just
not
a
connect on.
quick point. No, just a quick point. I don't think Rhodesia exists anymore. I just want to say that. Just people watching. I think that country's dissolved. I could be wrong, but I thought I saw a movie where they were fighting for their freedom and it didn't work out. So go ahead, Connie.
Which proves my point.
Is that I was camping when I heard about the maid. Now I don't remember who told me, but I would not know everything. You should know something. One current event y'all all, and you might need to elaborate and fill in some little point thing about conversation. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see this right? You see this right? You see your girl over there, cold chilling, right?
It's a homework for headache. And real quick, I would finish off this list. Number 9, ask how the last few years have affected them. Do not do that. Just take that off. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I think those were
I'm asking.
Not on the first date.
COVID.
I'm asking.
Yeah, not on the first
Exactly.
date.
I'm
Don't do
asking.
that.
How did you deal with COVID? I'm asking. Was you locked up getting your oil changed, having to do breathe all on you, and you possibly have COVID for the last 40 years and didn't even know you had it? So yeah, I need to know that.
It does say ask about their family life, and I think this goes to kind of with the comment Connie was making. If it's a single mother raising a child, you wouldn't you want to be sensitive to that, because if you're going to go out on other dates, you need to understand what her availability could be like, and then just siblings. I like to find out if you got siblings. I think that's important, just understanding somebody. And these are just surface level things you can talk about rather than run down the list of exes, or tell me what your number is. And then it says ask what they're looking for from dating right now. I don't know about that either. I just feel like there's
I
that
already know what
feeling
you
out
want.
period. There's that testing period where you don't need to go too deep into somebody's personal feelings and beliefs. Just get to know them, get comfortable with them, and then let it develop, let it flow into whatever it's going to be. Sometimes you date somebody and you just date them and then y'all become friends. That's it. It never went anywhere. You had a great time. You went and saw Love and Hip Hop, and that's it. And you
So we can
moved
be
on.
friends like that, right? We can be friends like that, right? But
Yeah,
we can't be friends the other way.
that's
That's
not an ex. That's not an ex.
That's a
Connie,
date.
go ahead.
That's an ex.
you dated her.
No.
You
Okay.
That's
dated
not
her.
an ex.
You dated her.
You dated her. That's an ex.
A girl I
You
used
don't
to
see it
date
too?
20 years ago, we're still friends. And I'm not playing gymnastics with words,
That
homeboy.
is
I'm
not.
not
Are you
doing that.
kidding
You
me?
dated her. You dated her.
So you're telling
We
me I go out on one date with
you have a
somebody,
level
2
of
dates?
intimacy.
I'll give
You
you 3
have
dates.
a level of intimacy established.
I go out on 3 dates with somebody and they're an ex?
And I can say, yo, I dated her.
3
Yes, I
dates?
dated her.
It's a
But you
date,
act like she can't get
yo.
crazy as well, too. It's a date.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
you
See,
went on a
you
date.
wanna
It's in
play
the title.
gymnastic with the words.
Wow. I got a ton of exes then.
Of course you do.
No.
Freak of the
Sorry, Mike.
week. And I'm sorry. And
I
I'm
don't
sorry,
count that as a
Cortez.
date. No, we don't count those as dates. We've
I'm
had
sorry.
those discussions. I
I'm
mean,
sorry, boys,
we don't
that you
count those
found
as
out that your
exes.
daddy is freak of the week.
We don't count those as exes. Me and her, but we don't count those as exes.
Who don't? Who
We'll
don't?
be
You
like,
don't?
listen, it literally will go like this. We be out somewhere, we somebody, they went, hey, what's up? Hey, what up? And then we keep walking like, oh, yeah, oh man, went to Applebee's a couple times. Got the 2 for $20. And that was it. Might have saw a movie or two. Might have went. I don't know.
So
Saw the
you okay?
Predator or
So
something.
you was
Predator
Shimmy.
2.
So you was Shimmy, and a person you dated that you went on a date with
Yeah.
approaches you, and then Shimmy
Yes.
asks you, "Who is this?"
Yes.
What are you
It
gonna
has
say?
happened. I
Yeah, I went out on a
I
date with her.
say,
I dated her.
yeah,
I dated
exactly.
her.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? And of
Yeah.
course,
I,
Renita,
I,
of course, I would be so shocked if you felt any different that
right.
a date or two does not
Thank you.
constitute an
Thank
ex.
you, Renita. It
How did
doesn't.
how did
It
I
doesn't constitute an X. It doesn't.
how did I not think she was gonna
See,
say
this is
that?
this is what is wrong with us. We don't know how to date. I ran into this problem in college. People don't know how to date. They think everything's got to be defined in a box. This is it. You know what? Boom. Get straight. In the lines. No.
Why?
No.
Because you say so. The other person doesn't have a say so at all. Is that what
I
you're saying?
I know they do have a say so.
Thank
If
you.
they
So
don't
if they call
they
it an
don't want
ex,
to do
you're gonna
that,
look them dead in the face and say, look here, bro, you are not my ex. We
just because.
we have nothing. We had nothing. I don't know
Huh?
you. Get out my face.
So
I'd ask
yeah, exactly.
somebody.
So if you go out with somebody says you take them to the movies, you go to the
How many
movies, you get
dates
some
did you go on?
popcorn, you get some ice cream, you get the 2 for $20, you drop them off back at the house. That's an X. That's an X.
You dated
No.
her. You dated
Oh my
her.
gosh. Oh my
How do you know her?
god.
How do you know her?
we we
How do
We
we
what? See, look at him stumbling.
we shared an appetizer.
what'd you say?
We tripping.
We had some spinach dip. We have some spinach
Oh,
dip and pasta. Go ahead, Connie.
I'm
Go
waiting
ahead.
on
wait,
him. I'm waiting on him.
no,
I'm waiting on this one.
wait. No, this is how it's his friend came in when he said, "Hey, how do you went to a movie? Not we went on a date, sucker.
Right.
You don't classify as a date.
Right.
Go away.
You
We're done.
know you know he and I we've established that. We
That was
exactly.
it. That was it.
We've
No,
established that.
it don't work like that.
No,
It does
No.
not work like that in the mind of a woman. I understand
No.
from a man, from the male perspective, I understand
We
that.
didn't.
That is why I'm putting it
We
out
went
there from the
to
female
movies.
perspective. And just like someone told me 2 weeks ago that I don't have the right to speak for women, and she is partially correct. But a woman, if she and I were dating, even though she said she would never date me, boo hoo hoo, I'm dying inside. But that's another story. Just like she said, I don't have the right to speak for
Let's see
women.
what he said.
But as a woman, if she and I were out and one of the girls that I dated popped up on me and I spoke and we were cordial and she went on, she would ask me, who was that? Oh, that was a chick I took to Applebee's. And in her mind, it would turn out to be, this is somebody you dated. You
Okay.
dated her. Whether it was
Okay.
1 or 1 million times, you dated her. You are not allowed to have a relationship with her. Thank you.
Renita's comment, and I agree. Having
Of
multiple
course you
dates in a
would.
week, they are not exes. If you don't go out with them, wait a minute. They are not exes if you don't go out with them again. I don't care if you got two or three dates with them. If you're not exclusive, if you say, look, I'm exclusively dating you, once they reach the exclusivity level, then when you stop dating them, that's an X. That's an X. But if they're not exclusive, if they're on the list, I'm just telling you how Almond Brown used to get down back in the day.
You
Okay,
hold it. Don't climb the mountain. Don't climb the mountain. Do not
Almond
climb the
Brown would
mountain.
make a call. Almond Brown would make a call. Hey, do you want to go to the movies tonight? No, I'm busy. I can't make it. Click. Hey, do you want to go to the movies tonight? Yeah, I can make. Okay, cool. I'm gonna pick you up at 8. Almond Brown pulls up, picks him up, go to the movies, a little Taco Bell, drop him back off. Had a great time. I'll talk to you next week, maybe. Okay, and that's it. That doesn't make you an X. And then
boys.
as you become more mature, and then as an adult, you will have more dates like that where it's just inside the event. That's it. The
Did
whatever the event is, you
sir,
enjoy each other's company, and then you go
sir,
home. That does not make them an ex.
sir? At any point in time, did you not hear me say clearly, clearly in my Stephen A. Smith voice, clearly, I understand from our perspective, but in a woman's mind, it does not work like that. That is
Uh,
considered someone that you have dated. To get back to Dawn, I own Big Grizzly Adams. I own that one because I spent my time with her. So I own Big Grizzly Adams. Don't stop me from doing what I'm doing. Now go ahead and side with Renita and then tell me how that's not true. That me understanding it from your perspective. And then a chick walking up on me with my old lady, and then I have to say,
Ask
oh,
girl
she ain't
that
nobody.
we used to ball on the back.
She ain't nobody. I
They
took her
ain't
out
dead.
the Applebee's and we got a 2 for
So
20,
we
and then
can play ball.
I kicked her to the
I be
curb.
killing her.
That's different.
go ahead,
And then it
Connie.
turns into, well, she might still have feelings for you because you kicked her to the curb. And because she's a woman and she was rejected, she may still have feelings for you. So she may still want to be with you. So you can't talk to her ever again. She can't be your friend.
If I,
Go ahead, Connie.
I'm just saying, we're talking from the context, okay? I work and what I shuffle through is people's work. I got to shuffle between my customers in the back, and it's always word, a wider word that a customer needs to make them feel good, so they will leave my establishment. Pass it back. It has to remain on that envelope back. Now it confuses the mess out of my people, and has to be written on there so that person will leave. Date has just turned into for this entire. It is a word. Now, how you fare? Yeah, you dated because you went on a gone word. Okay. Now, how you feel?
Somebody get her a soda. Get this woman a
It
soda.
is what it is. Okay. So we don't really got to be all attached to that. Okay. And no, their every week don't constitute a date. Y'all had a okay. All right. So that's just how I think this should go ahead and be consistent, right?
No, he's not
I
inconsistent.
was
He does stick to it.
exactly.
I'm just really shocked. I am, and we're
What are
gonna.
you shocked about?
Well, hold on. I'm sorry. We're gonna wind it down, because we could go on, but we're coming to the end of the pipe. But
Yeah,
I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked. I,
Renita, I agree with Almond. Almond
yeah,
is always right. Headache is the problem. Headache is toxic.
no,
He's
I feel like
mutated from the
yeah.
Toxic Avenger to Mr. Toxic Avenger.
I think Renita has formed her own opinions. She's not, she's not siding with anyone. These are just her own opinions. But I think she and I both are shocked the fact, especially, as you get older. I think dating, and even Jen had a good comment. And dating, it takes some maturity. It does take some maturity. It's funny that you mentioned it because when we talk about married at first sight, and some of the reality shows, you see that sort of the toxic level of dating. But I think a mature person who is out there in the dating world does not consider someone they've gone out with and had dinner with and enjoyed whatever conversation and come back home. It does not consider them an ex. That just
I've never
doesn't make sense to consider them an ex. Yes, Connie.
I've never said that they were an ex. I didn't say. I said I understand how a woman can formulate it in your mind because then it would turn into you're not telling the truth.
Well,
Because
yeah,
if you dated
that's
her
that's her
and
problem though.
then something else, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I told you I understand it from your perspective, but you and I as men are not in her mind. So you already know how a young lady could take this is $2, but the $2, if you get another $2, then you got four, and then after that you got 14. And we was just talking about $2. We wasn't talking about the 14. You took it to the 14. And that's how it starts out with, yeah, I dated her. And then it turns into, how long did you date her? I only
Yeah.
dated her one time. So you telling me that you dated her one time and then she's all hee and kick-hacking and cheesing all up in your face like this
Right.
over one date? You, you come on now. You're gonna act like you've never been in an argument where it started here and it
Yeah.
went all turned into this?
Yeah.
What's the difference then?
It depends on the woman. I'm gonna let Connie get a comment. Jen had a funny comment back to Gordon Lakes. That's where you get the bad fish from. The ones that got a little smell to them. Just stay out of Gordon Lakes. Got to
Exactly.
fish. You got to fit when you want to date. You better be fishing in the right pond.
I
Get
make too
somebody
much
with
money to
some.
fish in Gordon Lakes. First of all, I make way too much money to fish in Gordon Lakes.
Go ahead, Connie.
Right. All I was gonna say is that it's going from, because I do know some 20 somethings will call them exes. Okay, so it all goes back to what Chris said about when he learned dated and things like that. I didn't need to go on a mission. I went on, you either live alone or be alone, or two, man, I ain't built for this dating. Find the one period and be done. Okay.
Right. All
So I
right.
get some of the people and stuff, and so that's why words are, just be honest with the situation, regardless of how you feel. Those are words, okay? And so just be mindful.
Good point.
Mhm.
Good point. All right, we're gonna get ready to close things out with what we're gonna be doing for the next week. This was a great conversation. I appreciate all the comments, everyone that responded. Don just said, when a woman hears I dated her, she doesn't hear I pushed her out of the car after the. I know you're right. You're
I
right.
am.
When
I
I
am.
have right. It's always a follow up question because they want you to define what dated means. And then
Now
of
you
course they're looking.
understand.
I get
Now
that.
you
I
get it.
get
Now
that.
you get it. Now
I
you
get that.
get it.
But again, no matter what, that doesn't make them an ex. So I just want to. I just
And I
want.
never
We're
said that
gonna
they
have to.
did. I never said that they did.
We'll expound on this in some more episodes, but we'll have some more topics for you for next week. But right now we're gonna kind of close out with what we plan on doing for the next week. I'm still reading that book, Coded the Extraordinary Mind, and man, when I get done with it, I'm gonna lay it all on you guys because he's always talking about all the way through the book. He's talking about breaking those cultural norms that we've been conditioned to believe, the boxes that we're supposed to be in, and just breaking those down and really learning how to become who you really are. So I really like the book. Again, I watched Bullet Train this week. I'm giving it an 8. Go out and see it. Brad Pitt's character is fantastic. Great dialogue, great action in the movie. So that's what's up for me this week. Doing a little more reading, a little more TV watching. So Connie, what's up with you?
My birthday is on Friday. I'm cooking
Oh yeah, okay.
lasagna. So outside of that, past weekend, I ain't doing nothing unless somebody better be making my drinks and bringing them.
I hear
Yep.
you. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
All right. All right. Look, next week you're gonna have to share with us some of your birthday celebrations. Your favorite drink or whatever it is you do. Have a story for us for next week. So,
Thank you,
all right.
Jennifer.
So,
Thank, thank
oh
you,
yeah.
Don.
Oh, look at the birthday
Yeah.
wishes coming in
I know.
already.
Pouring in
I'll take it.
already from all over the world.
All right, Mr. Toxic Avenger. You can put your cape down now. So, let us know what you're gonna be up to for this coming week. I know you're reading some things and watching some things. So, what's up?
I got a new mixtape that's getting ready to come out called 48 Laws of Karma, coming real soon. It was inspired by Renita. So that will be hitting shelves really soon. Once again, I got one for you next week, homeboy. So just like you
Okay.
see these two pair back here chilling this
Yeah, I
week,
see it.
I got some for you next week, homeboy. I got something for you.
Oh man. And Renita said
Um,
wishes everybody a good night. So good night, Renita.
Good
Want to
night, Renita.
thank you for tuning in.
It was beautiful as always. And in parting, I wish you the very best. And thank you for hanging out with us once again. But once again, what else? Your package comes in next week or comes in this week, so it will be ready to go for next week. What do I have? Photographs to shoot. I am looking into learning how to use OBS Studio so that we can beef up our production and
Okay.
polish some things off, and then we can have scrolling and
Oh, cool.
screen sharing and all the other things, and then we can do some more things as far as with engagement with the audience as well too. Um,
Oh, real quick, man, I almost forgot. I didn't mean to cut you
Go
off.
ahead.
I watched the Rita Moreno special. I think it's on Netflix. Um and it's I remember you and I talking about Morgan Freeman when we first saw him on Electric Company and how
Uh huh.
old we thought he was. The great thing yeah, it's funny. Like Morgan Freeman's been old for like all our lives. Like,
Thank you.
an Electric Company came on in, what early 70s, I think. But the Electric Company was just as important as Sesame Street, but the voice of the Electric Company, the Hey You Guys, was Rita Moreno. But I only really know Rita Moreno from like Electric Company on up. I didn't really, the older movies she's done, but her story was actually amazing. I'm gonna watch it again, and then I'll give you some of the highlights from it next week. But if you get a chance, check it out. That is really a touching emotional story about a woman. She's Hispanic, and breaking into the industry, and then all the trauma and the things that she went through and experienced. And she's a trailblazer. Awesome, awesome, well done documentary. So sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Is it called One Day at a Time?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So I have that one up on my screen now. So I want to make sure that I have that up so I can go ahead and get onto that one because
Hmm.
if I don't, I'm gonna let it slide away sitting around the house doing nothing. But like I said, the OBS Studio, I'm looking into that. Um, your package is coming this week, and I can't wait to catch you with your flipping mouth open. Um, what else? Get back into my reading. I did take Danger Mouse and Black Thought. I took that one for a spin, but I really couldn't get into it because I wanted to listen to Camp Low a lot more. So I have to go back and finish listening to that. Um, Pick back up on this reading, become a better person. That's
Awesome.
what I'm
Yeah.
working on. I'm becoming a better person for society and for Renita's sake.
I
And
mean, we all
possibly,
want to be better people. Yeah, we
no, I
all
just
do.
want to be a better person for Renita. So possibly one day Renita could say, you know what? I would never date you,
But you
but you've
all
moved
right.
one step closer. So from instead of 100, you're in the top 99 right now. So I'm looking
Well,
to do that as well too.
Well, cool. I'm gonna hop back in the spaceship and head back to Planet Almond. So I appreciate everybody jumping in on the comments. Connie, go ahead and give us your wave goodbye, your sign off. Say good night to everybody.
Y'all stay light. I learning off of fumes, so
Oh,
I'm like that time. My coworkers want to know how they like. Oh, you want a podcast? What? On that, she says, I don't think that's free. I said, like, we don't do that.
yeah,
The
right.
young
Check it out.
crew don't do Facebook. I need a shareable link or something that I can send to them.
Okay,
All
okay,
right.
okay. We got you. Headache, take
In
us on
Next
out.
time.
in closing, for me, if you do not have this book, The Way of the Superior Man, if you are a single mother and you are raising a young son, I beg you, with everything that I have in my dark-skinned, bald-headed heart, I beg you to please pick up this book. It will teach your sons about navigating life, about when they find a purpose, on how to navigate the waters between doing your purpose and still being a responsible man in a relationship as well too. This gives so many tips, so many things that as a woman you may not be able to convey to your young sons, but I beg you with everything that I have in my body, please pick up that book. And if you don't read it for yourself to help you to better understand men, invest in your young sons, and please pick up that book. That one is a game changer.
Thank you. Interesting. All right.
Sweet.
But in closing, I do thank you all once again for investing your time in us. You had plenty of other things in the world that you could have been doing, but you allowed a young, old, big mouth kid from Glen Hills, Georgia, to infiltrate your life for the last 2 hours. And I'm so grateful and I'm so humbled and I'm so thank you for that. So in closing, be good. If you can't be good, be yourself. If you can't be yourself, be honest. Shoot paper, not people.
All right.
Right.
And with that, y'all, we will see you guys next week.
Go get your go pick up your ex this weekend as well too. Couple of dates and go get you an ex this weekend.
Please record your message. Please record your message. Please record your message.
How we gonna